guys? Welcome to episode 55 of the Let's Talk Nerdy podcast. On this episode, we are talking Madden 25, Watchmen Chapter 1, NBA 2K25, and Hellboy Crooked Man.
Life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone. I hear you call my name, and it feels like home.
Is this a song? See, now I don't know what to do.
It is a song, and you just heard it.
Oh, is this Backstreet Boys?
If I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer.
You are now tuned in to the Let's Talk Nerdy podcast.
I love it when you talk nerdy to me.
Let me give you a hint.
Yeah, Batman?
No.
Deadpool?
Yeah, it's Deadpool.
Oh, is it a quote or a song?
No, it's a song.
What song?
It's Madonna, like a prayer.
Oh, at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
cool. I had no idea. But
This was me pulling on my hypothetical Wolverine mask.
I wasn't sure if it was that or you
Yeah.
hypothetically pulling swords out of your back, but either
No, that
way,
was-
I kind of see what you're doing now.
That was the mask reveal.
Gotcha. I liked it.
Let's talk about how much I loved that.
You love that part? Did you love the whole movie?
I loved the whole movie.
Okay.
I
Did you
really
kinda-
did.
Did you get what I was kind of saying though?
They beat that Disney joke to death.
Oh my goodness, they sure did.
They really did. They beat it to death. But you know what? I'm willing to look past it because of just how good the rest of the movie was. Like I feel like I don't know, dude. Like that moment when Hugh put on the Wolverine mask. I know, like, it just was like kind of solidified the fact to me that they really just wanted to make a good movie for the fans. You know what I mean? Like for forever, Hugh was like, "I'm not wearing the mask. I'm not wearing the mask. I don't want to wear the mask." And fans were like, "Dude, please wear the mask. Please wear the mask." You know, and it's like that like when he pulled that over, I'm just like, man, they just really wanted to like set out to make a good movie for the fans. So I thought it was great.
I think that was the goal of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and everybody involved in general. But I also it was also funny to see him have different renditions of Wolverine throughout the comics in that little flashback or when he was trying to find the right Wolverine. Okay, another question. I'm not trying to spoil anything because I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't seen it. Did you get what I was saying about a specific scene? It's like, why is it there? You know what scene I'm talking about?
I do not know which scene you're talking about
We can talk
specifically.
about that off air a little bit because I don't want to ruin it. I just felt like it really was kind of pointless to have in there. And I know like you have to have some downtime in this kind of movie, but overall, I totally agree. This is a fan for the movie. It's kind of similar to Far From Home when Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland all came together. That's exactly the kind of feeling I got watching this movie.
I mean, honestly, I thought it was great. I mean, I'd understand what you mean with like some downtime. There were some scenes in there that were kind of slow moving and really didn't really build on much of anything, but like, I don't know. It's still just Ryan Reynolds on screen, just like making it happen out of nothing.
Yeah, it was definitely well put together, and I loved the movie. But there's some things I'm like, I'm being too nitpicky on this, and like you said, I just got to look past all that and say this is a fan for the movies, or fan for the movies, movies for the fans, and that's what they did. They came together. Hugh Jackman did an awesome job. It's funny to see Hugh Jackman so. Like, I know Logan was very bloody and rated R, but, like, I feel like he took it up a notch with the Deadpool Wolverine movie. Like, it was so much more, like, F this, F that, F you. Like, that's what is so funny, and I really enjoyed that part of Wolverine and Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all of the X-Men movies and all of the Wolverine solo stuff was all rated PG-13. So
Logan wasn't.
Logan
was,
okay, yeah, Logan was rated R.
Yeah, but everything else was PG-13, I believe.
Yeah, so he's been kind of capped for the majority of his career of playing Wolverine. So it's cool to see him like break free.
And what do you think about what the actress that played
Cassandra Nova?
Yeah, she was creepy, wasn't she?
Really good, dude. She played the creepy villain like to a T.
Insanely well. Like out of all like Marvel, I felt like she played one of the villains like the greatest, to be honest. Like I can't think of another villain of the Marvel William Dafoe as Green Goblin, but other than that, I felt like Cassandra Nova. And what is the actress's name? Do you know off the top of your head?
I forget her name. I'm so sorry. I forget her name, but yeah, but she did absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it was creepy. She really gave the villain like part, and then oh, never mind. That's gonna get into spoiler part. So I'm gonna cave it there. Great movie, Dave. I'm glad you watched it. And now there's something else you watched. I want to hear your thoughts on it too, like a soft review of Batman the Cape Crusader.
All right, Batman the Cape Crusader. As you guys know, I was super excited for this. And oh, dude. I mean, okay. I wasn't I'm going to try to phrase this correctly, so just give me a second to kind of put my words together. I was not disappointed. I think it delivered on what I thought it was. But in the same turn, I feel like I didn't have that same love for the series as when I watched the original series. Does that make sense? I think I was going into it trying to capture a feeling, and this happens a lot with nostalgic stuff where you kind of think things are better than they were, or they actually were, they actually were better. But I just went into it thinking like my heart was going to be in a certain spot, and while I enjoyed the series, it just didn't give me that same feeling as the original animated series. And I don't know. I don't think that's a bad thing, but I do think maybe they did a few things wrong with the series. I don't know how in depth you want me to get into it, but
It's your soft review, man. As much as you want to spill out to everybody, but I get what you're saying. I enjoyed it too, and I think I like really enjoyed it in the sense that I was so young when Batman the animated series came out. So for it to like be fresh in my memory and for me to really remember, it's kind of hard. And so like I went in there pretty excited to watch it, and like the first couple episodes, like wow, this is great. I didn't get to watch the whole thing yet. I think I'm on episode 4, I believe, and like I'm enjoying it, but there are pieces of it I'm like, okay, I could see this being a lot better in this sense. And there's some of the pacing of the show I thought was kind of awkward, to be honest. I was expecting more of a. I don't know if it's. I'm just not into it yet, but I feel like it's so many mini stories throughout the thing rather than just one complete story. And I don't remember how Batman was the animated series, if it was like that or this is different in that sense.
no. So that I think they did a good job. So guys, there's 10 episodes that drop, and basically I don't want to say that every episode is a standalone episode because there is continuity there that you kind of need to follow. Specifically when you get towards the end of the series where they start kind of wrapping everything up and leading into series 2. But essentially, I mean, in the original animated series, obviously there was a continuous story where if you followed along, you knew a lot more. But it was always a series where you could kind of just jump in, watch one episode, and like that episode was complete from start to finish. You got a complete experience with each episode. And I think they did that with this series. And you can see that because, obviously there's a new villain each episode, blah, blah, blah. It's like if you're watching the Harley story, the Harley episode, you're getting the Harley story from start to finish in that one episode. You know what I mean? So I think they did that okay. But one of the things that I was really kind of just I don't know if I was let down by it, but it was really about like character traits, specific character traits. And I think there was no like middle ground here, right? Like they either absolutely nailed a character for me or they really dropped the ball on a character. And that kind of has me wondering, what's season 2 going to look like? Are they going to be able to fix that? Because, one of the things, and this is not this type of show, but they made some changes, right? So they made Penguin a woman, which I'm fine with, but it's just like, it didn't make sense to me why they did it, right? And then if you look at the Harley episode, so the Harley episode took place before, and I will just throw it out here and say that like we kind of called it. I mean, I don't know if you know, but at the end of the series, they do tease the Joker, so we kind of called that. But they have the Harley story take place before the Joker is introduced. So the Harley is not Harley because of the Joker. Harley is just Harley on her own right, which is a little strange. Now, if you look at other characters like they did Harvey Dent, for me, the character was really strange because Harvey Dent was almost kind of a jerk before he turned into Two-Face, and he was never really like that. I mean, in the comics and the incantations of Harvey Dent that we've seen, he was a really nice guy, and he really tried to like clean up Gotham and stuff like that. And if you look at this series, it's like, he's taking bribes, he's kind of being a jerk to people. Like that wasn't Harvey Dent, and that's why Two-Face is such a strong character, because he he wasn't that guy at all. He was a super nice guy. You know what I mean? And then this thing happened, which made him Two-Face, which is why he has this like kind of inner, monologue of good and evil, right? He just seemed too evil right off the bat. Some other characters that specifically, I don't like the way that they handled Bruce Wayne. Do you like Bruce Wayne in the series?
He's kind of definitely different than what he's been in the past. He's like a playboy. Like he likes being that center of attention and show off. And one episode he just punches a guy in the face. Like definitely not him normally. Like he's more outspoken and maybe, and I kind of going off what you're saying, maybe they're trying to make it its own story, like make it so much different that it has its own identity, which is good. But I can see what you're saying. It takes away from that nostalgia factor, that feel of the comics, and takes away from some of that. Wow, it's Batman.
I don't know. I think that kind of like tugs at my heartstrings of like how I actually feel about the character, right? Because I love Batman, because at his core he's a really good dude, and he's really trying to like stand up for justice and do the right thing, and he really is a nice guy. And then it's like you look at this kind of version of Batman and Bruce Wayne that we're looking at right now, it's like, I don't know, his personality as Bruce Wayne in the original series, he was kind of I don't know a nice way to say this, but he kind of like played off like a dummy, right? Like he played off like he didn't know what was going on, but he didn't do it in a rude way. You know what I mean? He was always like super nice and polite. And like you look at this version of Bruce Wayne, and he's kind of playing off like the playboy, but he's doing it in a jerk way. Like he's kind of acting like a jerk as Bruce Wayne, and I don't like that. And specifically the scenes where like he's in the Batcave like talking to Alfred and stuff like that. He's like almost talking down on Alfred. You know what I mean? He's like very stern, and he doesn't even call him Alfred. He calls him Pennyworth. You know what I mean? Like he's just not nice. And like that's fine if you want to be like that towards the criminals and the villains. I think that's really cool, because that's definitely the direction that they went with. They went more of the Batman kind of feel, where he's kind of moody and, for lack of better words, like a little emo and kind of like angry. You know what I mean? Like if they went that route with Batman, I'm fine with that. But that Batman always had a great way of being able to switch that off and like be, I'm Batman, to the villains. And then when it was Alfred, it's like, he's joking around, having a good time. Like he's nice and polite. And I just think they really blurred that line, and I wasn't a huge fan of it.
Maybe they're setting it up for it to expand, like to go more in depth on how he is in the future. You know what I mean? Like to like take a deeper dive into Bruce Wayne, like how he's gonna evolve and things like that. Maybe he's going to evolve into that nicer Batman, that more respectful Bruce Wayne, if that makes sense. Like maybe they're just trying to expand on it from started as a younger Batman with, I'm still the playboy, like I want to show off, I want to show who's in charge here or who's top dog kind of situation, and then evolve into more mature, or something big happens and like and then Bruce Wayne's like, okay, I have to bring myself down to earth kind of situation.
I 100% hope they do that. And I think that's probably the direction that they're going, which is why, talking about the series as a whole, I'm still hopeful for season 2. These are the complaints that I had for season 1. But exactly like you talked about at the end of season 1, there's a scene in one of the very last episodes where Batman is leaving the Batcave and he's talking to Alfred. And when he's done talking to Alfred, he's like, all right, I'll see you later, Penny. And then in the middle of Pennyworth, he cuts it off and says Alfred and smiles. So you can kind of see like that growth of the character. And I hope they really take it to that place.
Definitely. I can see that happening. A lot of these Amazon shows are actually pretty good about doing stuff like that, like really expanding on the characters and really bringing and like showing the growth in between seasons and things like that. So I'm excited to continue it on. And yeah,
they did a great job. They made it super dark, which I loved. It was definitely the darkest kind of version of Batman that we've seen in an animated series in a long time. And just, spoiler alert, earmuffs here if you guys don't want to hear this.
I don't know if I want to hear it.
The Joker looks absolutely insane. I mean, we kind of nailed it. They teased the Joker at the end of the very last episode. They teased the Joker, and he looks like he is going to be the most brutal version of that character we have ever seen, and I'm kind of excited for it.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but that's okay. I didn't hear any of that. But okay, Dave, so you finished watching Batman. I started watching Batman. I finished watching The Boys. It's okay. I think they've kind of stepped down a bit on that. Don't really want to get into that one too much. But what I do want to get into, I finished X-Men 97.
You did.
I really enjoyed X-Men 97 so much that my son and I are watching the original animated series now.
Let's go.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it holds up today still. And I could feel from watching X-Men 97, like I can feel the inspiration from the 90s series in 97. And I thought that was really cool. So I'm not very far into 97 or the 90s version, but I'm super excited. And yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool to watch and to see that story kind of unfold.
And now you know what I mean. How iconic is that intro?
Yeah, so yeah.
It's so good. I mean, I can hear the first note of that song and be like, oh my God.
X-Men. You're like, whoa, squirrel. With that one, it's funny though, when you watch shows like that, you're like, okay, I just gotta skip the intro because it's so long sometimes, because it's gotta be like 40 seconds long at least. But no, I really enjoy it. It's really cool, and it's funny to see my little 4-year-old son, or going to be 4-year-old, just like recognize characters after a couple episodes. He's like, oh, that's Cyclops, and I can't say his name very well, or Storm. It's really funny. And then like when the robots pop up, he's like, oh, that's Bad Robot. We don't like them. I'm like, those are called Sentinels, Clark. And he's like, okay. And then, so yeah, it's really cool to kind of expand on that. But what games you been playing?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't been playing many games, but I don't know if you guys can see this. We have, I don't know if you've seen this, but did you see like for Fortnite, Xbox came out with a new version of like the Guitar Hero guitar for some reason? I have no idea why they're doing this, but yeah, there's like some Fortnite thing where Xbox came out with an updated version of the Guitar Hero controller. And my buddy doesn't play Fortnite, but he does love Guitar Hero, and he has this like version of Guitar Hero. I don't know what it's called. I'll ask him and I'll leave it in the comments because it's freaking sweet. But I think it's off Steam. And it's basically like every song that's ever been in Guitar Hero done in one game, and he got the guitar. So I don't know if you guys can see this. I have like a blood blister on my finger from playing Guitar Hero.
Oh man,
dude, I was shredding like a little Slipknot Psychosocial. I was dude, it's so
Are
sick.
you good at Guitar Hero?
I am not good at Guitar Hero.
Okay,
so
I'm
I play on medium, but he is like an actual like guitar player and plays on expert, and like, dude, it was absolutely insane watching him play.
That's cool. Yeah, not me. I play on easy.
But yeah, I've been jamming out on Guitar Hero lately.
That's how I play. But yeah, I haven't played Guitar Hero or Rock Band in probably like 10 plus years. It's been so long since I even touched that kind of thing.
It's a good time if you break it out. You just break it out. It's a good time. Play on medium. It's fine. What have you been playing?
I've taken a break from gaming a bit too, and I've done a lot of things, kind of grow myself a little bit. Granted, it's still not the most growth, I guess, but because of the topics that we're talking about, specifically Watchmen, I went and bought the Watchmen book from 1986.
Which I'm super excited about.
And I'm reading, Dave. I don't read books. I don't read anything. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot.
That's not true. You read the Last Ronin when we talked about the Last Ronin.
That's true. But that was a very quick read. Like, granted, this is still a graphic novel, but this graphic novel is 400 pages and 12 chapters.
It's no joke.
No. And so when I went to buy this book, I bought it from Barnes & Noble. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start buying more books from Barnes & Noble. And so that's my plan. My wife has Kindle Unlimited, like where you can get free books. So with that, I read Hellboy, Crooked Man, which we're also going to talk about. So I'm reading.
I'm proud of you, dude. I love to read. It's one of my my guilty pleasures that I don't talk a lot about because I just honestly don't find a lot of people that like to read anymore. But I really like to read. I'm super old though. I do not mess around with like Kindles and stuff like that. It just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't hit right. Like
I
I
like
like
the
to
physical
have the
feeling of turning the
yes,
page.
turn the page, put the bookmark in. Like I like all of that stuff. It's just something about like you're on a Kindle, like you just don't. I don't know. For me, I just don't pay attention as much. Whereas like I'm reading a book, I'm kind of immersed in it. When I'm reading a Kindle, it's very easy for me to like read a whole page and then be like, I have no idea what I just read, and then you have to like go back.
That's why I'm like bad at reading. And that's I think partially that's my ADHD coming out where like I have to read the same paragraph probably 6 or 7 times. Like, okay, I finally got it, and then I can move on. And that's kind of what I did with when the in the book of Watchmen when it gets into the we can talk about it a little bit later, but when it gets into the excerpt of like basically Nightman or yeah, Night Owl is given his excerpt about everything, and I'm like, okay, but now this is just text. I don't know what just happened. So like that's kind of funny. But I love the book so far. I love the Watchmen in general. And yeah, so and then game wise, nothing. Because I basically shut out the world this last weekend and I went to my wife, my son, and my dog. We went on to this cabin. It was on Saturday afternoon. I was like, you know what, you wanna go to a cabin? And so I booked it that Saturday and we went on Saturday. And so it was really fun. And I shut off my phone for a couple days. We just hung out at the campground. It was like it was like a cabin glamping situation. But the reason why I bring that up, guess what the name of my cabin was?
Nerdvana.
Dave.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, my cabin name was Dave, and I thought that was really funny and ironic.
Let's go.
So you were on my mind all weekend, Dave, because that was the name of my cabin.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. But that's all
Not
I had to
many-
say about that.
Not many things named after me, but apparently I have a cabin, guys.
Yeah, cabin.
I hope
it was really
I
cool.
hope it was beautiful. I hope
It
it
was
treated you
cool.
well.
It was a trailer turned into cabin, and like there's no TVs, there's no internet access, and the nearest cabin, like you couldn't see the other cabins around you. It's just you secluded in your own little spot with a fire pit, like a giant window to look outside. Very serene, and the company is called Getaway, and so like it's literally like a getaway, and it's really cool. They have a box where you put your phone in and you lock it in there.
You lock your phone up?
Well, it's just a slide box, but they call it a lock box. Just we had one on just in case like emergency, so we can But other than that, it was a really good time, and it was worth it. And now I'm back to getting back into games and movies, which I think it's time to talk about our first game, Dave.
Let's do it.
Madden 25 comes out August 5th, 16th. Let's talk about it. Dave, what is your thoughts on yet another Madden?
They got me, dude.
No,
They
okay, come on.
They did. They got me.
They
back.
got you last year, too, and we
I'm
both
back.
tried.
I'm back. I'm back on Madden, dude.
Okay, here we go. Let's hear it. Why? Should we pull the trailer up? Or
Yeah,
just kind of
let's
leave it
go.
up on the background?
Let's go ahead and pull up the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very long trailer, so we'll just leave it go in the background
Yeah.
here. But I don't know, dude. I think looking at everything that they did, they addressed some pretty key issues, and we talk about this all the time. Could we turn it down just a little bit?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, so we talk about it all the time where it's like, Madden's the same game every year. Madden's the same game every year. Madden sucks. Madden sucks. The gameplay sucks. But I think, I don't know, I'm seeing a lot of work that they're doing to improve the gameplay. Don't you think? Don't you think?
I think they're coating garbage with chocolate. I think they're putting some nice milk chocolate on a pile of poop and saying, "Ooh, it tastes good. This is what's changing," without addressing the core aspect of the game and the core issues of the game. And I kind of see that in the community of Madden in general, where people are like, yeah, okay, this is all great, but you're just expanding on more poop. Like, you got to fix what's really wrong with the game. And so that's kind of...
Okay, what's really wrong with the game?
I don't know. Like, I haven't played Madden in so long because I feel like they're just trying to add a bunch of new stuff. This has changed. This has changed. This has changed. This has changed. Without like I feel like the game at its core is not very fluid, and it has a lot of glitches and core issues that are wrong with it. And then just trying to expand on it without fixing it from last year. They're like, okay, so this is cool. Let's expand on it, but without fixing it. Like they're expanding on these elements without fixing like the core, like the bones of the game.
See, to me, I think that they are working on fixing the core elements because the number one thing that I hated about Madden was the gameplay, and not so much just like the gameplay mechanics, but how just like unrealistic things that would happen in that game were. And I think that they've listened to the community and heard those complaints, and I think that's what they're trying to fix right now. Like the actual fluidity of the game I'd never had a problem with. I thought it was fine. And like the actual mechanics of the game on how you play it, I always thought was fine. The outcomes of the things that happened in the game was always where I drew the line because there was always just some unrealistic garbage that would happen in every single game where you have a player like Devin Singletary, who's like one of the smallest running backs in the NFL, just like bucking off three linebackers. And you're like, dude, that would never happen. Or you know what I mean? Like you have a defender who's like not even close to you, just dive and touch you with your finger. And all of a sudden you fall flat on your face and fumble the ball. It's like, dude, that would never happen. And I think what we're seeing here is that they're with the new physics-based system, they're trying to fix that stuff and give you more realistic outcomes of how these players would interact with each other on the field.
I guess I could see that, but where I kind of draw the line, or where I kind of see some of this, they're adding more things, and adding more things is going to cause more things to go wrong. And I think that's where a lot of these mishaps in the game happen, and the glitches, and like you said, the unrealistic aspects of the game that happen. And that's what I'm seeing right now is like there's just so many other things and more elements to control and try to fit it all in a controller, which, you know what I mean? Like I just feel like they're overdoing it with what it could be or should be, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
No. I understand what you're saying, and I think one of the things, and I've seen this argument a lot, but I think one of the things that a lot of people um, aren't kind of like, I don't know why they're not on board with it, but if you look at these, a lot of these things, a lot of these changes that we were talking about with the core mechanics of how these players interact with each other are really outside of the player's control. And I think that's the way that it needs to be, right? So we'll just get into some new stuff here because I think if I explain a little bit of this, it'll kind of make more sense. What I'm specifically talking about right now is this boom tech, which integrates the real world physics on how these players interact with each other. And the way that that kind of works is that okay, you have a few things. So one of them is ultimate tackle control, which you now have the ability to control a little bit more of how you tackle these players, right? If you're talking specifically from a defensive standpoint. And the new tackling system improved ball carrier logic and reloaded hit stick. So you're kind of right. The way that you actually control these players does mean things. But if you're looking at the physics from, stuff that's not outside of your control, they're going to be taking into account a lot of different things to determine the outcome of what happens when two players meet each other on the field. And they've broken it up into three like separate stages of the tackle, which is pre-impact, impact, and post-impact. And the way that this is going to work is that they're taking a combination of statistics, mashing it all together very quickly to determine a more realistic outcome of what's going to happen. And a few things that they're taking into account is going to be the combined momentum of the players. How fast are they actually running at each other? What angle are they coming at each other at? What is like the weight of both players involved, the speed that both players involved? What is the strength rating of both players involved? What are the actual player ratings when we're talking about tackling or breaking tackles and stuff like that? And using like certain behind the scenes dynamics, they're going to be able to calculate what should be the most realistic outcome for each of those tackling situations.
Yeah, and I think that's
it's
all
really
really cool, and if it works well, and that's where EA has a long track record of introducing these new elements. That's like when they first introduced Frostbite, making it like the new game engine. You know what I mean? Like everybody's super excited about it. And then the more they went in and the more people play, they're like, okay, it's really not all that great. And that's my fear with this new boomstick. Is that what it's called? Boom tackle?
Boom tech.
Boom tech. And that's my fear with boom tech is they're saying how great this is, but is it really all that great? Are they only showing the great aspects of it for it to come out and say, "Yep, it's just another Madden, just another Madden," and that's where my fear. I don't get me wrong. I would love this to solve all of Madden's issues, like Madden. Everybody, you know what I mean? Like where Madden falls short. I hope this new boom tech and the physics based and the changes that they're adding to the animations of the ball carrier. I really hope that makes the game feel more solid in terms of the unrealistic tackles and things like that. But I almost wonder if it's going to be too physics based, where it's almost overkill. Like you would expect somebody to fall down in a certain situation, but physics say it's not going to happen, and then they stumble through tackles when they should be tackled, but because of the animation, they're able to run through these players. Does that make sense? Like I feel like there's a lot that can go wrong with what they're trying to do.
I agree with you. I think there's definitely the possibility for lots to go wrong and for this engine to not work exactly the way that they think. But I'm also kind of hopeful here, right? Because I don't think that they've ever had the ability to kind of do these types of like split second calculations. And I'm almost thinking of it as the way of like, I don't know. I don't know how introducing real world physics into the game can make it worse, because in that same situation, right? So you're saying there's a situation where like a player gets hit and they start stumbling and they start breaking all these tackles and stuff like that. Like that is current Madden, and that's part of the things that I hate about it, right? It's like you hit a guy, you bounce off the guy is stumbling and he's running sideways and still breaking tackles. It's like that's not how physics works, right? If that dude is leaning to his side, about to fall over, you barely have to breathe on him and he's going down. You know what I mean? I think I'm almost kind of just being more optimistic and looking at it that way, where it's like physics says that that dude should go down if anybody touches him, because it's the thing I hate, right? You get that first tackle 3 yards behind the line and the dude's staggering all over the place, and then all of a sudden he just bucks off your linebacker and goes 90 yards to the house, and you're like, this game's stupid. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm kind of looking at it in a more hopeful way of like, okay, now that dude's staggering, that linebacker is going to come up and just put him into next week, because that's what physics says should happen. You know what I mean? And I totally agree with you guys. Like I'm on board and I'm optimistic, but you know, in my heart, I'm cautiously pessimistic, right? Because Madden has never really given me any reason to trust them that they're going to pull it off and do the right thing. But I don't know. I feel like this is like the one year that I'm kind of looking at it, going into it with the most optimism of like, okay, they may actually kind of figure this out. You know what I mean? And especially with the release of NCAA with a college football game, we kind of talked about this when college football came out. They kind of have no choice now. You know what I mean? Like they're not the only game in town. You know what I mean? If this Madden sucks, everybody's just going to play college football and Madden will be done. So it's like, if there was one year that they really have to make good on the promises, it's this year.
Yeah, definitely agree. And like you said, the elements they're adding, don't get me wrong, like they're cool elements and they're really cool. It gives the player, like the ball carrier one, I thought that was really cool. So they're adding different animations in terms of like the juke direction. One thing I thought was pretty cool, they added a hezzy move, which I think is really neat. And from what I noticed, it's like you'll be able to combo these jukes and these like moves a lot better to be like it would be more realistic. But again, I'm just again like you are cautiously pessimistic, or in my heart pessimistic of what's going to happen, just given their track record and EA's track record in general of their sports games. Well, that's not all true, because I feel like I never hear bad things about NHL, but I don't play NHL, so, and I never grew up playing it. FIFA, I know, had a lot of positive things to say, or FC 25, 24. They were very positive in the changes with the whole not FIFA anymore. So I mean, it's cool that they're trying to make good on what the fans want, but it just is it going to deliver is my biggest question. And until like I can actually play the game, it's hard for me to say. And that was very similar in how you were with college football. Um, Also, there's a couple other games that you were very close to thinking about like that. You wanted to see gameplay, you wanted to feel the gameplay, and overall, I would love this game to be the best, or this Madden to be the best Madden, but it's hard for me to look past the track record and things like that. But the features that they're adding are really cool. I really also like the the changes to the hit stick where it's more like all about the angle that you have, and it's gonna have feedback kind of similar to 2K, which we're gonna talk about 2K in a little bit, but how your timing really matters. So if you're early, it's going to penalize you, like, and you might not make the tackle, and they might just run right through you or jump out of the tackle. But if you're perfect, you're gonna feel the hit stick and you're gonna hear the hit stick, and I think that's really cool. I feel like they took away from some of that like excitement when you get a big perfect hit stick and like the noise of it. But so overall, I think the game is adding cool elements as long as it's not again putting chocolate on poop. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I hope it's just a nice they're making the whole thing milk chocolate, not just, an empty filling.
I am not gonna fault one person for thinking that way. If you are down in the comments saying like EA is just gonna screw us on Madden again like they did every year, there is no argument that I can have. There's none. I mean, there's honestly none. I cannot say anything to you. I mean, it is a very warranted opinion, and I understand why people are like, it's just gonna be the same game that it is every year. Because honestly, for the past, I can't even tell you how long, maybe at least 5 years, that's what it's been. It's just been the same nonsense over and over. But I don't know. Like I said, I think this is the kind of the one year where they really have to kind of deliver on these promises because they have competition and the competition is literally within their own studios. So, I mean, they have to get this done. And just seeing these changes, it's like, I feel like they're heading in the right direction because you can say all the stuff that they do about like, oh, there's a new draft, there's the new stuff that in franchise, but nobody cares. Like I've talked about that till I was blue in the face. Nobody cares about all that shit because it's gonna be just status quo the longer that you play the game. The only thing that really matters is the gameplay, and I think they've done some pretty detailed stuff to try and improve the gameplay, or at least show us that they're making an attempt to improve the gameplay. And, we talked about the physics system, which you don't really have a ton of control over. That's going to be all kind of behind the scenes. But talking about those other things that you really enjoyed, that you were really excited about, the new ball carrier stuff, the new hit stick, they turned a lot of that into like much more skill focused stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's a skill based thing at this point. And that was another complaint that I had about Madden, where it's like, you're playing the game, and a lot of times the things that don't go your way when you're playing Madden are outside of your control. It's just a lot of garbage. It's like that's my number one thing of every time I play Madden. I'm like, that would never happen, or like, how did that happen, or that doesn't even make any sense why that would happen. And they've shown me that they're giving us more control, making it more skill based, and making the things that we can't control improve.
And one thing I was going to go into, one thing I do not like about the change, I don't know if you noticed in the gameplay trailer where they were talking about the spectacular catch button now.
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed, like the animations of these catches is literally like glue, like it just like sucks to their hand, and I'm worried that this spectacular catch is going to be almost overkill or almost OP. Now I don't want to say overpowered, but there's going to be some very unrealistic catches because of they hit the spectacular catch button where like I don't know if the defense is going to have something similar, like if they're using spectacular catch, I'm just going to use bat down. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
who's going to win that 50-50 ball? He's using spectacular catch, I'm using SWAT. Like, how is that algorithm going to work, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, and the thing about the catching, it's funny that you brought that up. A lot of people are excited for the spectacular catch button. Spectacular catch isn't new. That they had that in like I forget what Madden they had it in. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago they had spectacular catch and they got rid of it. But I think the spectacular catch, the way that they've explained it is like you have more catch control and more catch variety, right? And with this spectacular catch, you've seen a lot of these animations of like the one-handed grab and stuff like that. But you the way that they kind of keep that from getting OP, right, is your player has a certain catch percentage based on stats and stuff like that, right? Now, if you just try to catch the ball, and a lot of they've already kind of done this before where they've done like just catch the ball or they do run after the catch, you know what I mean? Like your catch rate percentage goes down significantly when you're trying to do a spectacular catch. So that that's really going to be on them to find the correct balance. Like if you hit spectacular catch, what is the probability that you should catch that ball? And I think that this new physics-based system is going to kind of work in favor to make spectacular catch better because it's going to be more adaptive and more realistic and be able to tell the actual CPU like, yes, he should catch this ball, or like, no, he should not catch this ball. You know what I mean? So again, this is, it's cool that they put this kind of stuff in. We just have to see how well they execute because if they execute it well and your catch percentage rate if on like a contested ball on a spectacular catch is like 15%, 20%, I mean, that's probably statistical average. You know what I mean? If we start seeing like spectacular catches, just you're jumping 40 feet in the air and just finger plucking a ball over to like three defenders, like that's a problem. You know what I mean? So we need to rely on EA to figure out what the correct algorithm is to make this work.
They're probably working hard towards that, and like you said, it's a high risk, high reward situation. And like you said, it all depends on you're more like it's more likely for drops and pass breakups with the spectacular catch, and so is it really worth it? Because if you tip it up in the air and it's picked off, so yeah, I could see. I think it's a big probability thing, and is it really worth using? I think that's going to be also on the player to decide. Well, it'd be so cool to do this spectacular catch over this defender, but there's a huge risk that they'll just tip it and get an interception. So okay, that all makes sense. Some other little things that I know you said you don't want to talk about a bunch of things with the franchise mode, but they're adding some new environments, storylines, which I'm not too sure. Like I know what they are, but it's basically saying like if a player shows up to training camp, your decision and the player's out of shape, it's your decision to how to handle them, and that will determine whether or not he'll be ready for the season or he'll start the season out of shape. So okay, cool. I mean, I don't know what else to talk about with that.
Yeah, they're like little storylines inside of your franchise, which I think is fine because it's whatever. And I think they've adopted this idea from EA, where this is 100%
or 2K. You mean?
No, I think they adopted it from NCAA.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. They have that. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I think they one of the things they adopted from NCAA was like this player, like happiness and stuff like that, where you're gonna get to a point. It's like maybe it's week 4 of the preseason, and you got like a player who's like wondering if they're gonna be in the starting lineup, or you get a player midseason who's getting kind of cranky because they're not getting the ball enough. I mean, this is like and how you answered the questions that they have kind of like affects certain things, like maybe their stats go up and down and stuff like that slightly, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff is fine, but it's interesting that they're adding that stuff in, and we kind of saw this coming. We're like, hey, like we kind of talked about this. If people really kind of like this stuff from college football, don't be surprised if Madden copies it.
And I think Madden also copied the customization in terms of being able to add your own complete teams, your own logos and uniforms, helmets, and then doing the share where you can share your teams. I will say that's really cool. I love making my own teams, my own logos and things like that. But where I think they're really expanding on this is, or not expanding, but just adopting it for Madden even more, is like you can have a complete franchise mode with 32 like made up teams, and you could build teams from scratch, like players from scratch. So that's pretty cool. And so what that means? They're just gonna all the EA college football people are gonna be like, oh, I can't put my players in Madden, but I can make them. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I think that's really cool. Really, I don't have much more to say aside from the fact that they're adding a bunch of new playbook things based off of the real teams, more route combos, hot control, more at the line. What do you call it? Control. More at the line control, so you can control your linemen a bit more. Yeah, just there's adding little things to that they do every Madden, but like you said, the physics based stuff is the huge changes that they're bringing into the season or to the new Madden. And for me, and you may have changed my mind a little bit. Okay, I'm starting to see what they're trying to do, but I was thinking this, and I also saw this I saw this in a comment. I was like, you know what, that would actually be kind of cool but they would. It doesn't financially make sense for them to do this, but you know how Call of Duty they'll do Black Ops 1 year, and then they'll do Modern Warfare, like Treyarch and Activision kind of switch back and forth,
Yeah,
or
like
Infinity Ward. I mean,
flip flop studios.
yeah. So imagine like they did Madden every other year, and then college football every other year. So like this year was college football, next year would be Madden. But I know that's kind of unrealistic because like new rookies every year. Well, I mean, there's always updating rosters, but I just know financially that doesn't make sense because people buy Madden every year and they'll buy college football every year. But just imagine like the improvements they could make if they had 2 years rather than less than 12 months. Because you know what I mean? August 16th rolls around. Guess what they're doing? All right, we're done. Next Madden coming up, or EA college football. So
No, I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from on that. It just, yeah, it's just too much money left on the table. Because as much as everybody talks smack about both of these games, and I know college football is super hyped right now. I know people really loved college football. And I'm going to be honest, I played college football. It was fine. It wasn't anything fantastic. And I think people are really kind of living off nostalgia right now of just this is the first college football game that we've had in 10 plus years. I think when you start getting college football 26, 27, 28, that's going to die. That love and that nostalgia is going to die. And it's going to be the exact same thing as Madden, where people are kind of, all right, this is the same game every year. But as much as people are saying these are the same games every single year, the millions of people buy them. You know what I mean? So it's like they're still gonna keep making them every year, and people are still gonna buy them.
I think what's gonna happen for like the casual Madden players, or just casual football players like you and me, is we'll find one that really intrigues us and we'll try it, and then not buy it for another 5-6 years, and then find another one that intrigues us, buy it. You know what I mean? I think that's how it works for the casual players that aren't really sold on Madden anymore, but for the diehard, similar to Call of Duty, you buy it every year because it's coming out and you just have to have it, and you want to be a part of the times. You want to be able to play with your friends that play it, and that's what's going to keep them going forward. And for people to say, if you want Madden to change, quit buying it, it's not that easy. There's true fans of the series, there's true fans of just the NFL in general, and Madden is really the sole game you can play or buy. It's the only game you can buy to play as your favorite NFL characters or players in general. And I wonder with this Madden, because I know their contract's coming up on the NFL like soon, and so I wonder if they're really like putting all their eggs in one basket. It's like, okay, we got to make this the Madden everybody wants to play again, or we're gonna lose it. And then it'll be 2K NFL 2K26 coming up, and it'd be like it's gonna be like EA NBA and NBA 2K. So
Yeah, like if this isn't good, if this one isn't good, they're gonna lose the rights. They're not gonna lose the rights. It's not like we're gonna lose Madden, but they're gonna lose the exclusivity, right? So it's gonna be okay for other people to make pro football games that have actual likenesses. You know what I mean? That's an obvious problem for them.
yeah, yep. And I think that they're gonna try their best to make sure that doesn't happen. But let's be honest, like, and again, we're gonna talk about 2K coming up here soon, but 2K has a better engine for a lot of the things that they do in basketball. Granted, basketball's a lot different sport, a lot different like animation wise, but their engine, in my opinion, is so much better than Madden's engine.
And I think 2K has a more loyal fan base. And that's not me throwing shade on EA fans. If you guys are fans of EA, I mean, there's great fans of EA on there. But if you look at the general consensus, 2K fans really love 2K. They don't really have a lot of bad things to say about it. EA players talk shit about the games all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And I think that's where EA is like, we really got to nail this one right, or it's not the death of us, but we're gonna lose a lot of fans and a lot of players in our game. So I'm curious to see where that goes. I know I doubt they lose their exclusivity. One, probably they're just gonna fork up a bunch of money and because they have the money, but who knows? So
Yeah, who knows? But I mean, honestly, I'm hopeful. I'll run through a couple quick things here, and I apologize, guys. I am actually I am looking at my notes, but there's a lot to cover here. I want to make sure if you want to know about this game, you got everything that you need. We talked about the ball carrier physics a little bit. Adam did with being able to stack the moves and stuff like that. Really, really cool. Another really cool thing is we talked about that 3 stages of hit: the pre-impact, the impact, and the post-impact. That also takes effect to the ball carriers. So when you see a tackle animation start to happen, if you guys are watching the trailer, you can see that the ball carrier kind of braces for impact in that pre-impact situation, and when that happens, it's kind of like a visual cue and also like a timing kind of thing that lets you know that you can still use one of these new ball carrier moves. Like you can still use the skill moves of spin moves and jukes and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool. They updated pass blocking where you now get visual cues of who's being blocked pre-snap. And they're even highlighting a defender not accounted for. So you get this like hot defender to let you know like, hey, this guy is uncovered at the moment. New pocket building logic where they say that the pocket forms much more naturally. We talked about the catching, which I thought was really cool. The revamped right stick for improved skill move controls. The complete hot route control. I think we skimmed over that a little bit, but I think that's really interesting, right? So having the ability to call these plays at the line, because I'm a big component of like reading the defense, switching my play at the line, using the hot routes. But the most important thing for me with the hot routes is situational based, right? So with these new hot routes, not only can you control the route that's being ran, but you can control the depth of how far that route is being run. So now if you're looking at just like a simple in and out or like a curl or something like that, you can control it. It's like, do you want a 5-yard curl? Do you want a 10-yard curl? Do you want a 15-yard curl? And I think that's something that's always really kind of lacked from the hot routes, which I think is really going to improve the gameplay and just be kind of a beast for people that play like no huddle offense on the line and stuff like that. I'm super excited for that. The defensive switch stick. So now you can switch defensive players just by hitting the right stick. One really cool thing that I really enjoyed is the signature authenticity. So I don't know if you saw that. But with the signature authenticity, basically they put like thousands of new animations in the game. So basically every player in the game has their own feel and vibe to it. You know, and if you are not just a fan of like Madden or like video game football, if you're a fan of the pro game and you like watching the games, these nuances that you see on these players is incredible. And I think it gives it such a realistic vibe. Like when Lamar gets up to the line and you know he always like messes with his towel and stuff like that. Like you see like those little player nuances in the game where you're like,
yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
I've never hear that from Dak.
Yeah, you hear that from Dak, and it's like that's really cool that they take the time to like give each character in the game their own just like kind of personal feel. So I'm super excited for that, and of course they are going to include the new kickoff rules, which I'm kind of excited about. I kind of want to see what happens with this new kickoff rule, and I think people are going to start experimenting with it before we actually get to see it like in live games, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, super excited for that. The new draft we talked about, that's fine. I mean, it's a more realistic draft experience where you see the board and Roger Goodell and all that stuff. That's going to get old. You're going to skip through that. Yeah, we talked about the management and the storylines, revamped progression, which I thought was really cool. They've now revamped the progression system so that younger players improve faster, which I always thought they needed to do because you draft a rookie who's like a 78, and then it takes him until he's like, 30 before he's, actually good. And you're like, well, now he wants to retire. So younger players are going to progress faster. I thought that was really cool. Adam touched on this a little bit. Over 1,000 new sound effects and real crowd audio added to the game. So you're going to hear those hits. I mean, if you have your home team and you've been to a game, the sounds of the crowd. Like they're using real crowd noise. They're using real crowd chants to give it
Except
more.
for the Chargers. The Chargers don't have a home field, but that's okay.
That's all right. That's okay, buddy. It's not a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Their home is in your heart.
Yeah, that's true.
And last thing, they actually have 3 different broadcasting teams this year.
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
so I thought it was really cool. You're not going to hear just Brandon Gowden and Charles Davis. They also added Greg Olson and Mike Tirico, who I think is a great group, and Kate Scott and Brock Horde. So
As long as it's not what's the one guy? Chris. What's his last name?
oh yeah, Collinsworth.
Yeah, I do not like that guy. Chris
Nobody
Collinsworth
likes-
fans, just retire, dude.
Nobody likes that dude. I don't understand why that dude's still announcing games.
The thing with Chris Collinsworth, he always brings it back to himself. Like, back in my day, la da 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 da. It's like, no, I don't care. Another thing, all right, we're gonna get in some deep crap here. I liked Tommy Romo until I realized how much he has a huge love for Patrick Mahomes. I hate it. He loves Patrick Mahomes more than his own children, I fear.
I mean, I don't know. I think he's okay. I think he just
He's okay when he's not announcing Chiefs games.
okay. I'll give you that. I know you.
I hate him.
I know you have a little bit of bias right now because you hate Patrick Mahomes. I think Tony Romo's really good in the sense that he's one of the most incredible play callers as an announcer. And what I mean by that is so many times you're like Tony, it'll be like 3rd and 5 and Tony Romo's like, watch Kelsey. He's gonna slide out left and then run a quick, 5-yard out. And that's the exact play that happens. Like him just being able to read the situation is really incredible. I know he's got a little bit of love for Patrick Mahomes, which you hate, but I honestly, I think Collinsworth is like the dude that kind of does that. That's the thing that I hate about Collinsworth. It's like he'll pick a dude at the beginning of the game and will for 60 minutes will just crush on that dude, just saying how amazing he is and how great he is. It's just like he focuses super heavy on one player and anything else that's happening in the game like doesn't exist.
And that's another reason why Chris Collinsworth is, one, he loves Patrick Mahomes just as much, and two, yeah, I see he's definitely like that. He'll bash a team even if they're doing well too. Like if they're doing well, he'll be like, "Oh, but this last game they sucked." It's like, yeah, but look what's happening in the now, Mr. Chris Collinsworth. And again, I'm very biased. Oftentimes the Chargers are not doing well, and when they're doing well, nobody talks. Yeah, I don't know. So that's just some bias. I don't like him for that sole reason. But other than that, Madden, here we come in a couple weeks.
Madden, here we come, a couple weeks. Like we said, I give you guys all. I give you all the love for being pessimistic here and just, not really trusting the situation. But I will say, if there is one year that Madden is going to be good, it's this year because
most improved. Don't say good.
If there's one year that Madden is going to be the most improved, it's going to be this year because they literally have no choice. So I'm going to give it a shot this year. If they let me down this year, Madden is dead to me for now until the end of time.
Until NFL 2K comes out.
Until NFL 2K comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Check it out. See how it goes. Adam,
Yes.
Are you ready to play a game?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about this one. Normally it's the other way around. Normally you're the one that's nervous because I come up with random new games, but this week it's me. So.
Yeah, I did not tell Adam about this, but we had a lot of success with the $15 to pick your team, right?
Yeah, we did. Okay.
Yeah, so I was thinking, I know you're not the biggest fan of the MUT situation, but I
Madden
just think
Ultimate Team?
Yeah, the Ultimate
okay.
Team. But I was thinking for this situation, it might be kind of fun to see if you could build your ultimate offense with just $15.
Okay, $15. I like it.
Yeah, you like it?
I like it.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
$15.
How many groups? Is
Okay.
it quarterback, receiver, running back, tight end?
That is exactly what it is. So 5 spots to fill. We need a quarterback. We need a running back. We need 2 wide receivers and a tight end. And you have $15 to spend to build the best offensive lineup that you possibly can.
Offensive lineup. Here we go.
Okay, starting with quarterback. For $5, we have Josh Allen. Did you like that?
Yeah, I see what you did there.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
For $4, you have Jalen Hurts. For $3, you have Justin Herbert. For $2, Baker Mayfield. And $1, Geno Smith.
Ooh, do I go cheap and just no? So here's a fun fact for you. If you ever play me in fantasy football, 100% of each season, no matter what, my quarterback is a Chargers quarterback. So I'm going to pick the $3 Justin Herbert as my quarterback.
That's a great pick. I'm not gonna lie, guys.
Yeah, almost like a very cheap Justin Herbert. I like it.
I threw him a bone there. I gave him
did.
a cheap Justin Herbert. Okay.
did.
Running backs for $5. We have Christian McCaffrey. For $4, Saquon Barkley. $3, Josh Jacobs. $2, James Conner. And $1, Najee Harris.
I feel like there's no real debate here. $5 is going to Christian McCaffrey.
You taking the $5 CMC?
Yep. So I have $7 left.
Yep, you got $7 left. It's not a bad play.
Yeah.
Okay. Wide receiver 1 for $5. You have Tyreek Hill. $4, Debo Samuel. $3, DJ Moore. $2, Christian Kirk. And $1, Courtland Sutton.
What was $3?
$3 was DJ Moore.
DJ Moore as receiver 1. I like that. DJ Moore as receiver 1. I
Okay.
like it.
All right,
Yeah, I gotta save my. That means I only have $4 left. So
You only got $4 left. It's getting tight.
Yep, it's getting real tight.
Okay. We'll give you all the options here just so everybody knows what they are. So they can play along at home. But wide receiver 2 for $5, you have CeeDee Lamb. $4, Mike Evans. $3, Michael Pittman. $2, Terry McLaurin, and $1, Hollywood Brown.
Ooh, what was 3?
$3 was Michael Pittman.
What was 2?
$2 was Terry McLaurin.
Who does he play for?
Washington.
I'll take him. $2. What was his name?
$2. Terry McLaurin. $2.
Terry's. Yep.
That's not a bad pick. Okay,
Yeah.
and then final tight end. We have $5, Sam Laporta. $4, Trey McBride. $3, Evan Engram. $2, Dallas Goedert, and $1, Dalton Schultz.
Well, I might as well just take the $2 one.
Taking Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, Dallas Goedert.
That's not a bad pick. Okay, $0 left. Are you ready to hear your offensive lineup?
Yeah, I'm not very confident in this offensive lineup, to be honest.
Quarterback. I mean, I think you did all right. At quarterback, you have Justin Herbert. Running back, Christian McCaffrey. Wide receiver 1, DJ Moore. Wide receiver 2, Terry McLaurin. And your tight end is Dallas Goedert.
So, you know what I think? I should have probably picked a cheaper running back and gone with some more expensive receivers because, like, Justin Herbert's a gunslinger. Like, you want to put that ball deep instead of just hand the ball to Christian McCaffrey every time. But that's okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's okay. You know, also, I'm going to say I would have passed it on CMC and taken the $4 Saquon.
Yeah.
And then the $3 Michael Pittman. So then you're looking at Herbert, Saquon, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman, Dallas Goedert. To kind of look a little better.
Yeah. Oh, well. I'm sticking to it. Not the most solid team, but I think it'd be okay. I think it'd give me some wins in some Madden Ultimate Team.
I think you did pretty good. I think you did pretty good. But yeah, you guys love this game. So drop down in the comments what you would have gone with.
Yeah.
Remember, $15, no cheating. We got a couple people on the last one cheated a little bit, and you were clearly over $15.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
$15
And I want to
over.
say, people hating on your Gambit. A lot of people are hating on Gambit.
I love the Gambit pick.
Yeah.
A lot of people also hating on the fact that I picked Magneto as the villain. Y'all are 100% right. That was so stupid.
Yeah,
I picked literally the one villain that could destroy Wolverine.
Yeah, just rip his body out of him. I will also say, make sure you guys understand the rules a little bit too, because there was a comment saying, why would 10 Hydra agents be more expensive than Doctor Doom? Well, because they're easier to defeat. So that's the reason why that happened like that. So
yeah.
But I'm
We'll
hating
see.
on you. I'm just giving you guys a hard time. Don't actually mean anything mean, but
Let us know in the comments your team. See if we can see if you think your offense would take down Adam's offense.
yeah.
But
Moving on.
moving on, indeed.
Watchmen Chapter 1 comes out August 13th, 2024. So really quick around the corner. This episode will be up by then, but I don't think the single topic will be up by then. So if you're watching this after it releases, just know this is prior to us seeing the movie. And I am very excited about this for a lot of reasons. Dave, are you excited about this one?
I'm not gonna lie, super excited for this. I love the Watchmen, dude.
I love the Watchmen too. I think I like the Watchmen the most. One, because it's not your typical like I can fly superhero. They truly are more, minus Dr. Manhattan. They're truly like are vigilantes. Like, you know what I mean? They don't have these over the top powers that really set them apart from Joe Schmo and the average guy. And I think that's really cool. Again, granted, Dr. Manhattan can do a lot of crazy stuff with his abilities, but Overall, I'm very excited about this movie. And I figured that Dave, you can expand on this, but I was gonna go into a little bit about the history of like just the graphic novel and Watchmen in general. So
I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. You are probably at this point more well versed to go into the history of the Watchmen. But I will say, the Watchmen was always a comic book run that I really enjoyed when I was a kid. And like Adam said, the original book came out in 1986. It was written by Alan Moore, and illustrated by Dave Gibbons. And I've really enjoyed the fact that if you go back and you look at the comic book runs that happened during that time, from like that, let's say like the 86 to like 92 time period, if I would be hard pressed for you to find another comic book run that was darker and like more mature than the Watchmen. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I really loved about it. Well, it had the same vibe of like the Eastman Turtles, right? It's like this story just kind of lived in a world where everything was not, I don't want to say campy, but was like kind of, we need to make sure that this is cool for kids, blah, blah, blah. This was like the one story where I was reading it and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I should be reading this. You know what I mean? And Watchmen always had that vibe. And that was one of the things that I really enjoyed about the Watchmen. They were never afraid to kind of push the envelope, cross the line a little bit where you're like, I don't know about this.
right, and I think that's why I really enjoyed it. So I went out and bought the book, the 1986, when they combined it all into a graphic novel. And like you said, it's very it makes you question like the morals of the characters and their choices and ethics and all this stuff all combined into a comic book, a superhero comic book where there's some questionable things that they do and really things that are not in superhero comic books. Like you said, they're more campy, they're for kids, they're for to make a feel good story. This one is not so much a feel good story. And I think that's why I really liked it too. Maybe because I'm up in that age where like more mature. I'm not mature, so don't get that. Let's get that straight away. I'm not mature, but to read something like this, it's really cool. Like I can understand it now, and I understand the whole visualization and the adaptation into a story and bringing it to life. And I think that's really cool.
It's like what's a good example for this? You're almost, when you're reading these books, you're almost questioning if a lot of these characters should even be superheroes.
Right.
Like almost like Deadpool, but even more extreme than Deadpool.
Right.
It's like you're looking at it and it's like there's nobody out there questioning that Superman should be a superhero.
Right.
Like obvious superhero choice, always makes the right decision, always does the right thing. You look at a character like Rorschach and you're like, I don't know if this dude should be fighting crime.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Part of me
And-
says like this dude is like an ultimate superhero, and also part of me says like this dude should be locked up and like kept away from the public.
And it's the same thing with the comedian. Like, you know what I mean? Reading the book about the comedian, it's like, yeah, this guy should have been arrested or like murdered a long time ago. And so that's where I'm at with this Watchmen Chapter 1 movie. And so, like we said, it's based off the 1986 graphic novel created by Alan Moore, illustrated by Dave Gibbons. It was originally a 12-issue comic, and since then has been put into one book. And I don't know what this is, but it was the only graphic novel to ever win the Hugo Award. Do you know what the Hugo Award is?
I don't, not off the top of my head. I don't know what the Hugo Award is, but it definitely was a comic series that was very groundbreaking. I think it won multiple awards.
Yeah. So what the Hugo Award is, an annual literary award for best science fiction or fantasy works and achievements of the previous year. So really, it's just a science fiction book, and yeah, it won the award for that. So I think that was really cool. It was one of the only graphic novels. It's the only graphic novel to have won that. And it's the only graphic novel to appear in Time Magazine's, this is a bit older fact, but Time Magazine's 2005 list of the 100 best English language novels from 1923 to what was then present 2005.
It's cool that you brought that up. Like this series kind of transcended comics, right? It hit a lot of lists and got a lot of recognition not even just as a comic, but as a book itself. It was like competing with actual books, which speaks volumes to just Alan Moore's ability to write a great story.
And I would also say with Dave Gibbons like art style too, like the way it's so cool to see his just art style in general. I'm not an artist, so I don't know how to like put this into words, but other than the fact that it's really cool, really well done, it really gives me the same like vibe of or like the same appreciation as dang, I'm blanking on his name. We're gonna talk about him too. Mike Mignola. And like that's the appreciation I have for these two artists, or not. Shoot, that's not his name. He's the writer of Hellboy. Now I'm blanking on the name. Whatever. Anyway, I appreciate the art style of Dave Gibbons, and to see it brought to life, and to see him endorse such, like he endorses this movie very much, like has high praise for what he's seen in the film, and I think that's really cool.
Gibbons style, the way that I like to kind of always explain Gibbons style is like precisioned grittiness. So it's like if you really look at the detail of the work, you can see like how precise he is with his line work and stuff like that, but you can also get this feel of like a certain dirtiness and roughness to it that just really works.
And it's really cool that you say that, because with this movie, I watched like a breakdown of behind the scenes and some interviews that they had. Their whole goal was to make it feel like Dave Gibbons did the movie. Like he made the movie. And from what they did, they had this model where there's a 3D model where they basically pasted on like Dave Gibbons like drawings onto these 3D models and see how they would move, and to stay faithful to how he would draw or animate this movie. And I thought that was really cool. And they also, one thing that they did is they added a lot of film grain to make it seem like it's still 80s like comic books, and I thought that was really neat.
You know, I love that. Anytime you add any type of retro effect to it. But yeah, that was the one thing that I noticed, like right off the bat, looking at the trailer. I was like, because this is one thing that I always worry about comic adaptations going into animated series is like, I know what the art style is supposed to look like because I loved the comic series. I loved reading comic books, and I know what this should look like. And I want to see how they translate that over. And that's one thing that I noticed right off the bat when I started watching this trailer for the first time. I was like, this looks exactly like the book. Like they definitely nailed the art style here.
Right. And it's really cool that to go on top of that, another way they wanted to make it feel like the 80s and the comic, like the book itself is, so it's a 3D movie, but the way it's kind of made, it still makes it feel kind of 2D. Like that was very intentional of them to make it feel like it's a movie that's a comic, and I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I'm super excited for this.
So roll the trailer.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll the trailer.
Boom, boom. Maybe is it playing? Okay, it's just a very long rated R picture.
They just wanted to ensure rated R.
Yeah, but go for it, Dave. You're the better explainer than me.
Oh, go for it, dude.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. Basically, what you're seeing here is Rorschach. He's going through investigating the death of the comedian who is one of the what do you call it? Costume adventurers? What they call their superheroes? They're costume adventurers.
Yeah.
And so, he's on screen right now. And basically, the costume or the comedian was the most disliked out of all of them, and he had some very moral questionable choices in the way he handled things and the way he attacked civilians and people like that. And so Rorschach, he is trying to investigate why he was committed or murdered, and really that's kind of the gist of where I've gotten so far in the book. There's a lot more to expand on with that, but basically what you're seeing here is it like we've been saying, it stays so true to Dave Gibbons' like art style, and it feels like his comic book has been brought to life in such a way that feels like you're watching his book in a way. And I think that's really cool. The shading's really well done, the animation's really well done, and I think that's all I really have to say about that is it just looks and feels like the book.
I 100% agree, and I don't want to spoil too much of this, but The images that we're seeing in this trailer right now make me believe that they have stayed extremely faithful to the story.
Yes.
That, like, if you know anything about the original 12 books and you're watching this trailer right now, you're seeing some pretty key moments from the story inside the trailer, and it makes me believe that they're not straying away from the storyline at all, which is my biggest bugaboo, man. Once they start straying away from the story, I get a little wonky on it. It does not look to be the case.
No, so to kind of go off that, it is staying very faithful to the story. However, because the whole novel is 400 pages long, they did not want. So this is the reason why it's going to be two movies. It's going to be so chapter one, and there's going to be a chapter two. But the reason why they're doing two is because they did not want to cram all of that into one shorter movie, and so that's why they're doing two movies, because they didn't want to lose a lot of that detail and the overall feel of the movie. And I think that's really important and really cool that they did that rather than say, all right, just make a adaptation of the movie rather than staying true to the story. And however, there are elements that they have to leave out. And I think that's the case with any movie. You can't put every little detail of a book because there's just you can write so much description in a book, but it's hard to bring all that description and all that story into a movie. And I get that, but it's cool that, like you said, they're staying very true to the story.
I totally get why they're doing it. Like, it really is a long story. And honestly, if you're a fan of the original comic book run, and you watch that trailer, you can kind of get a vibe of where they're leaving off, because again, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. There's a pretty big event that happens that we're most likely going to see in movie two, which I would assume, if they weren't breaking it up, at least a little snippet of that would be in the trailer as a little teaser. So yeah, no spoilers, but I mean, if you know the actual story, you can kind of get a feel where that trailer ends, where they're gonna kind of end movie one in the story and pick up movie two.
And there is another trailer that I felt like could be like a really big spoiler. But again, I'm only into chapter 4, so I don't know all that yet. But from what I've read, I see like scenes that I've seen in the book. I'm like, whoa, there it is. That's so cool. And I think that's why just the idea of bringing this into an animation like this is very cool to me. And I think that's why I'm very excited to continue to read the book, because I want to read the book and see it be brought to life. And I think that's so cool.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Now that you're reading the books, are you a little bit more on the bandwagon of keeping with the original story?
I am a bit, to the sense where, yeah, I am, to be honest. Like, I want to see this this book brought to life, but I don't want it to be brought to life like The Last of Us, where it's line for line. Well, it's gonna be a bit different because, like, bringing a story-driven video game like The Last of Us to a story-driven like TV show, like, it's basically like you have to use the same words in a way. Where this, I hope it's not line for line and it expands on a lot of things like that. But also with this, I think it's going to be really cool because they are sticking true to the story. But you're also going to see much more of the world around, and I think that's really cool. And they really touched on that in the interview I watched. It's like, how can we, like, because it's just a vertical little box. Like, how can we bring that little box into a immersive world? And I think they're doing a really good job with that, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my favorite things about seeing the comic books come to life, right? As this expansion of the world and the expansion of the characters. And honestly, guys, when I say, like, I want to see the comic book story happen, I don't want to see it word for word exactly like Adam said. Like, I don't want to see a carbon copy. Like, that's boring. I get that. What I want to and I think maybe, Adam, now that you kind of read the story, right, you can kind of get a sense of, how I feel about this. You get to certain points where you expect certain things to happen, right? And it's like, it's not a spoiler that that's going to happen. You're actually excited that that's going to happen. It's anticipation, right? You're waiting for it. Like, you're waiting for a key moment, and you're like, I wonder how they're going to do it. You know what I mean? And you can change the dialogue. You can change, you can change a lot of stuff surrounding that event. But when when it gets to the point where that event is totally changed or the event doesn't happen at all, that's what I mean by like not sticking by the storyline. You know what I mean? Because you have that anticipation and you're like, it's exactly like we talked about with the Cape Crusader. Like I know the story of Harley, right? So I'm expecting there to be a scene where the Joker turns her, makes her crazy. You know, I want to see that moment. And in the Cape Crusader, I never got that moment. You know what I mean? And that's the sort of thing where I'm like, why? Why would you rob me of that moment?
With this, I think you're gonna get that sense of like, I know what's coming. I know what's coming.
Right.
And from the again from the interview I watched, they have some events throughout the story that are kind of out of order, but it's in a way where like they're fusing it together. There's a scene that I'm not gonna spoil it. I don't know if people are really into dissecting trailers and things like that, but there's a scene where it's a very important key aspect at this point and a key aspect at this point, and they kind of back and forth with the scene. And I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool, and I feel like that's gonna really like set the adrenaline of that scene, and really exciting to see how they do that thing or do that kind of thing because again, it's a 2 hour movie. I'm guessing 2 hours total,
Probably.
probably
Yeah, roughly around there.
180 minutes or whatever. Or that's
That's
two
like
and a half.
3 hours.
That's Avengers time. That's Avengers
Yeah.
Endgame.
That's,
I meant, yeah,
that's
it's like
Godfather 2 time.
yeah, 134 minutes or whatever. And to cram all that in without having some type of change and timeline like alteration, it just wouldn't do the source material justice. And I think that the way they're doing it, the way it looks, and everything that Dave Gibbons is saying and Alan is saying, like this is what they want in an animated version of Watchmen, and I'm really excited for that.
I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I love The Watchmen. I love what I've seen so far in this series. I love that it's getting the seal of approval from all the people involved. My one little bugaboo on The Watchmen, and I don't think anybody can really fight me on this, is like maybe Dr. Manhattan's a little OP.
Maybe. I would say he
mean,
definitely is.
literally could snap his fingers
Yeah.
and the whole universe is just gone. But
Right.
outside of that, I don't see anything wrong with this series. I mean, it's a great series, and it's just one of those series that like it never really got the love it deserved. It felt like, and it's one of those series that's almost like has this. It's been like kept secret, right? Like the fans of the series, there's like a diehard group of fans for the series. You know what I mean? And it's like when you see hints of the Watchmen and stuff like that come out, it's like those fans go crazy. But for whatever reason, even with the Zack Snyder movie in like what was it, 2010 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, even the Zack Snyder movie didn't make it go crazy. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason, this comic book series just never really got the love that I think it deserved. And I don't know, this could be the chance that like it kind of really blows off.
And there was a TV show about the Watchmen in 2019. It was a mini series. However, with that, it wasn't received all that well because I don't think they left out a lot of detail of the Watchmen and it just didn't do as well as fans would have hoped.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that series took place like 20 something years after the comic book run.
I was gonna watch it, but I don't remember because, or like, I think you might be right because this show has a lot of characters that I haven't gotten to or new characters in the series. Like there's these characters I've read or like I looked up are not the Night Owl and comedian and things like that.
So yeah, no Silk Spectre. I mean, like that's. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's why I think I remember watching the first episode, and then it was taking place like 20, 30 years after the actual story, and I was like, oh, I thought they were doing the Watchmen story. Like this is like Watchmen-esque, but some new thing that they're kind of making up, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
It wasn't like a bad show. A lot of people liked it, but they're like, it was okay, but it's missing a lot of elements of Watchmen that they would love to see in a TV show. And I think that we're going to get that with this animated movie. And honestly, like, I feel like this animation or just animation in general works so much better for the art style of Dave Gibbons. Like, yeah, the Watchmen movie wasn't terrible, but I feel like this is really going to do it justice.
I think the Watchmen movie, Zack Snyder made it a little. He tried to make it like mainstream, kind of campy. You know what I mean? He took, especially if you look at a character like Night Owl, you're like, I don't know. He tried to make him into like this funny kind of joke guy, and it's like, I don't know. He just tried to mainstream it. It's like Suicide Squad. Like you're just like, ugh. I don't know.
One random thought I had of it is like Watchmen reminds me a lot of, or I guess the Watchmen. Well, it reminds me of the boy. Like so, the Watchmen reminds me of the boys in the sense like minus the satireness, where like the boys is all satire and like making fun of superheroes. Where like this is like showing like a more like mature dark side to like being a superhero or a vigilante. Where like the boys is like the dark side or but a satire version. But you know what I mean? That's kind of where I was like drawing those connections, but I thought it's funny. That's where I drew that connection from. I don't know.
No, I think it's a great connection. And just last thing for me, I'll just throw out there. I know a lot of people are watching the trailer and they're saying that Rorschach sounds like the high school version of the Batman voice. I'm gonna go out there and say it. Rorschach had that voice before Christian Bale, so. I'm gonna go out there and say it.
I kind of felt like it. You know, have you ever seen the parodies of Batman
Oh yeah, I love
of like
those.
the Dark Knight? That's what the voice reminded me of. Is that parody voice? But yeah, I guess I definitely like Rorschach had it first. So
I get it. I understand the comment. It's Batman-esque, but that's Rorschach.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
don't make him mad.
Yeah, don't make him mad. He's
Don't
gonna come
make
through
him
the
mad.
TV and come after you.
That's funny when Adam texted me, because Adam texted me. I was like, yo, look at this book I got, because we were talking about Watchmen. That's the first thing I said. I was like, you're going to see some stuff, and don't make Rorschach mad.
I'm excited to continue on the story. I hope we didn't spoil anything. I don't think we really brought too much of what the story is going to be about.
I tried to keep it pretty low key.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that we could talk about with the story, but experience it for yourself. Especially because it's a story that's already been written, so we'd hate to spoil it for you. If you want to read the book, it's $10 at Barnes and Noble. That's where I just got it.
Highly recommend. Even if you want to watch the series first and read the book after and see how it compares. For $10, give it a read. Check out Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons' work. Really, really solid stuff. And then also keep in mind, that came out in '86. I mean, that's for the time was pretty crazy.
I was gonna say, I think there's one more thing I was gonna say. Nope, there isn't. So let us know if you're excited about this one. I am extremely stoked. It comes out again on August 13th. So by the time this is a single topic video, it should be out by then. So let us know your thoughts on it. Let me know if you've read the book. And yeah, Dave, are you ready?
I am ready. Adam, this is a pretty sweet comic book series, right?
It is.
But do you think it's gonna be one of the greatest of all time?
It probably could be. It
Probably
definitely could be. Yeah,
Okay.
it is definitely up there. It's such a great franchise of comics. So let's see how it goes.
Well, okay. Well, no spoilers. But Watchmen is not on the list, so we'll
Okay.
never find out. But what I want you to do is blind rank these comic franchises.
Let's do it. I'm
Are
ready.
you ready? Your
Yep.
very first pick, Aquaman.
Ooh.
He's
So
gonna
here's
dirt it.
this is the hard part for me because this is why I was trying to have you blind rank first or you
Oh.
blind rank because you've read a lot more comics than me. So that's kind of where I was going with that. But that's
Okay.
okay.
Do you have a list?
Do I have a list? Did I delete that list?
Did you delete the list?
I think I might have deleted that list.
Oh no.
Oh no, I didn't. I got it.
Okay.
So how about we'll do you blind rank me, I'll blind rank you.
Okay. All right.
So let's keep going. So Aquaman, he's such a cool character. I think he's an underrated character, but he's definitely not like top tier.
This one's tough, right?
Yeah. And I feel like you're gonna give me another like in the middle comic book. So I'm gonna put Aquaman at 4.
Putting it at 4?
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't like him there, but I think you're gonna give me something slightly better.
It's not a terrible assumption. Okay,
Yeah.
next up on the list, Captain America.
Captain America. So that's actually a comic book that I actually did start reading a lot of, like from day one. Captain America. 2.
Putting it at 2?
Yeah, I'm putting it at 2.
Not a bad pick. Okay, next up, the Hulk.
I'm gonna make a lot of people mad here.
He's gonna do it.
I'm putting Hulk at 5.
Oh no, why?
I
Just not a fan?
just I don't know. He's a cool character, don't get me wrong, but I almost wonder if like I feel like he might be overkill. I don't know. I he's cool and all, but the story of the Hulk just isn't as cool to me as other characters
I think one of the
as a
things
franchise.
I think one of the things about the Hulk that I understand your placement here. The Hulk never really had like really awesome enemies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Abomination,
Eh.
yeah. And I feel like
Start getting into the Red Hulk and all that stuff. It's like I don't know.
yeah, I
The
feel like with
the Rogues Gallery just doesn't hit right.
right. I would agree. And like the Hulk, it's one of those characters like he always ends up being part of a team.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always like, "Oh, the Avengers," you know what I mean? Or I don't know. Yeah, I don't like him. I
No.
like him, just not as a top of the list guy.
I get
2
you.
and 1 are left, or 1 and 3 are left.
Okay. Next up on the list, we have Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ooh, what did you give me? The whole like they're bad guys and they just want money is so cool. What did you give me for 3? You know what? I'm putting him at 1. I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
Putting them at 1?
Yeah. What did you give me?
All right. Your number 3 is Detective Comics.
Oh, just like DC in general?
No, not Batman. The Detective Comics run of Batman.
Oh.
It's a
yeah.
great run. It's a great number 3.
Yeah.
It's a solid choice.
I like it. Good
Yeah.
choices. Good choices.
Okay.
All right, Dave. I think I got some bangers here for you. Really gonna pull your heartstrings.
You know what? Now that I knew that like we're both doing this, I wish I gave you some better ones. I tried to like not make them like the obvious choice, like some not obscure, but like not like the top tier. But now that you're ranking me, I wish I gave you some better options.
You have some top tier here ones. Top tier ones here. You ready?
I'm ready.
Your first choice is the Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh God! Right off the bat,
Right off the bat.
that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
It's so iconic.
Yeah.
It's got to be number 1. It's
Number
got to be
one,
number.
okay.
It's got to be number 1. It's too iconic. It's
Okay.
too iconic to not put it at number 1.
Your second choice is Power Rangers.
Oh, you're tugging at my heartstrings here.
I knew I would be.
Yeah, you really are. I'm gonna put it at a 4.
A 4, really?
I'm gonna put it at a 4. I'm not gonna lie, but like nobody loves the Power Rangers more than me. But the Saban comic run early wasn't fantastic, and honestly, the Boom comic run late wasn't as fantastic either. It wasn't. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. I mean, you can't put it next to Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
You can't do it.
You can't.
Yeah, I can't
Okay.
do it. 4.
Your third option is Transformers.
Ooh, no, you're really pulling at my heartstrings now. Oh. Transformer, C, okay. Now I wish I put Power Rangers at a 5. Transformers is a 5.
Oi.
It's a great story, but the actual comic book run was not fantastic.
Okay, Dave, you ready? Your next choice is X-Men.
That's a 2.
2, yeah, I knew that.
It's an icon. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you can't put Power Rangers and the Transformers in the same tier as Amazing Spider-Man and X-Men. You can't do it.
Well, you know what? You just put at 3.
Well, the Batman.
You put Batman at 3.
I did put Batman at 3. But
Honestly, I thought it would actually everything would be shifted down 1, and you somehow would have saved number 1 for Batman. But that's okay.
I'm not gonna lie. As a character, Batman is my favorite. If I'm going to be 1,000% honest, talking about the skill and the just quality of the comic book run, I think it does go Amazing Spider-Man, X-Men, Batman. I do think I did it right. I would have flip-flopped Transformers and Power Rangers though.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a pretty good blind rank. And let us know how would you blind rank those comic franchises. And let's move on to our next game, our next sports game. NBA 2K25. Dave, when does it come out?
September 6th. I got that one.
Let's hear it. I haven't played a 2K game in a very long time. I honestly didn't know what I was looking for, to be honest. I got a lot of new things that they added, which I think is really cool. But in terms of like the overall, like, yes, this would be a great 2K, or is this another status quo, but in a good way? What did you find out?
I think one of the things we got to look at here is like Madden's kind of known for being the same game every year. NBA 2K is literally like the poster child of being the same exact game every single year.
But they always make it feel good for the most part. There have been some that made some questionable decisions on how they handled the shooting animation and the release timer and things like that. But overall, I feel like they have a formula that fans actually really do love, and like the core aspect of 2K is much more well done than, let's say, Madden.
I 100% agree with you. I think that yes, this is the same game every year, but also yes, I think they have found a system that really works and the fans really do love. So it's just kind of the quintessential if it ain't broke, why fix it situation. You
And
know
I
what I mean?
think let's kind of roll the trailer. This is kind of similar to
Yeah, we could just roll
Madden.
through.
We're just going to talk through it. Where they're expanding on what's working, and I think they're doing it in a way that actually makes sense. Where again, we talked about Madden or just in our last couple games here. But what they're doing here is they have their formula that works, but they're also expanding on it to make it feel more realistic. And I feel like 2K has already felt more realistic in terms of the way things are in the game. But with this one, they're expanding the animations of the dribbling. So there's gonna be over 9,000 new animations, which includes 1,500 dribble animations, 1,100 shot animations, 1,300 new off-ball animations, so how they move off the ball, and 115 new signature motion styles, so how like a specific player moves as they would in real life. And I think that's really cool that they're expanding on something like that.
Yeah, and we, like we talked about, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I'm not. I will say, like, yes, they have a core audience that really loves what they've done with the game, and they do have a system that really works. But if we're gonna be 100% honest, it's not perfect.
No,
it's really not perfect. And I think a lot, like we talked about with Madden, I'm seeing them really try to initiate things that really fix that situation, and really. It's a focus on gameplay, and I talk about this all the time. When it comes to sports games, you can put all the bells and whistles on it that you want, but at the end of the day, what you really need to improve on is the gameplay. People have to love the gameplay, because you can put entrance animations and music and all types of game modes and whatever you want in there. Eventually, people are just going to smash the X button until they get into the game. That's all that's ever going to happen.
Right.
So fixing these gameplay mechanics or improving upon them, giving the feedback that players want, is really what you need to do if you want to grow a sports game, expand a sports game, get a bigger audience. And I think we've seen a lot that they're actually trying to do that. Graphics, we'll run through a couple things here. Adam already touched on a bunch of stuff, but pretty obvious graphics have been upgraded. That's fine. Not a huge deal. I think everybody looks great. I think everybody looks fine. Graphics look great.
I think 2K has done really well with that in general. Like, I just remember on the PS2 when like the commercials would come out, and then like they actually could see the sweat of the players. You're like, oh, this looks so realistic. And then you're playing the game, you're like, it's still so realistic. So I feel like that 2K has been ahead of the times on their graphics in terms of like their games.
Yeah, because 2K has always been kind of ahead of the curve. It's like, 2K was always kind of up here. They kind of put.
And then you look at like the EA version, NBA Live, and it's like, whoa, where's the huge gap? Like, how does that even happen? But it's so funny.
You're like, oh, you're on EA, and you're like, oh, LeBron doesn't even have a mouth.
Yeah, right. It's so funny. But keep going. Let's hear it.
One of the cool things that I thought that they introduced, if you take a look at we don't have a ton of gameplay clips, but if you look at the gameplay. You can see the new camera look. I think the new camera look looks smoother. So I think it has a smoother vibe to it. One of the things I'm really excited about is the new shot meter. The thing with the new shot meter is instead of like the full bar, they're just going to have an arrow that kind of goes up that you have to kind of time out and match with another arrow up at the top. It's going to give you your perfect.
With that, actually, it's going to be customizable.
Yeah, I was going to get into that.
Oh, sorry.
You just ruined it.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're fine.
I was excited to talk about it.
No, it's a good thing to be excited about because I think
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. But yeah, one of the things that I love about that is you're still going to get your perfects. But I think one of the things that's really cool is they give you the real time feedback. So
Mhm.
instead of waiting to see what happens with the shot and then you kind of figure out, it gives you the real time feedback of perfect before it goes in the net, which I
Mhm.
think is kind of key. I think defensive minded players, especially, are going to be able to adapt to that, right? Because if you know that you throw up a perfect shot, you can get back up on D quicker. So I think it's gonna allow you to kind of be a little bit more aggressive in your play style. So I like that they kind of switch that up. A lot like Adam said, they are going to switch up the timing here, so you can actually go into the settings and switch up the timing of this new shot meter. And the way that you're going to be able to do that is you can have like a high risk. Low reward situation or vice versa. Essentially, what you're doing is you're going to be able to pick the size of your green window. So how that all works, I don't know if you guys haven't played 2K. The way that it kind of works is you have this shot animation, right? And in the shot animation, if you green the shot animation, it's perfect. And anything besides a perfect ends up as a white, right?
Mhm.
And based on where you hit these different progression tiers on the animation is your percentage of that shot going in. So like if you perfect it, I think the percentage is something like 94 to 100% it goes in. And then as you get further away from that perfect, you start having that percentage of it actually going in drop. And what's really cool about this is you can now kind of customize, do you want a larger green spot, right? So if you want a larger green spot, you can get the larger green spot, but you're going to sacrifice your whites, meaning that like if you want the larger green spot, if you don't hit the perfect, it's not going in. You know what I mean? But you have a larger window to make sure you get that perfect shot, or vice versa. If you're not as strong a player and you struggle a little bit with the shooting, you have your ability to lessen that green spot, right? But you have a greater percentage of those missed time shots going in. So if they think it kind of levels the playing field for all players.
Definitely.
Was that what you were
Definitely.
getting at?
It was where I was going with. I'm
Yeah,
sorry
okay.
to interrupt you,
No,
Dave.
no, no, you're good.
With more things to kind of go off that is one of the things that they're really emphasizing as well is that this is going to be the biggest change in gameplay in 15 years, and that is the dribble engine. And so, which their whole idea with that is it's going to generate a more dynamic motion, which has like uses real NBA footage to create a more authentic feel in terms of like how you dribble, the dribble animations that you use, the combinations that you use them, and how you get around different players as they're defending you. It's supposed to feel more lifelike and one to one in terms of like how Steph Curry dribbles is going to feel like Steph Curry is dribbling the ball, not just an automatic animation of specific moves that everybody has, but more so it's going to feel like Steph Curry. It's going to feel like LeBron James, and I think that's really important to really drive that authenticity of NBA, and I think that's really cool. In the same,
And not even just the authenticity of the dribble, it's the fluidity of the dribble too. So, if you're talking about how you actually dribble inside of 2K, right? You can kind of have this feel where it doesn't feel like you're dribbling. It feels like a bunch of stacked animations on top of each other. Like a sequence of pre-programmed animations, right? Is what it feels like when you're dribbling. It doesn't feel like you have that fluid control of being able to move around like you would actually being able to dribble a basketball. And what they're trying to get away from is giving you that ability to be more fluid, like you're actually dribbling instead of just moving down the court in a sense of like, okay, this is the animation of me, right-handed going to the right. This is my behind the back. This is my stutter step. You know what I mean? Where it's like a jittery feel. You know what I mean? Like when you're playing and you're stacking all these animations together and your character's just kind of like jittering all over the place, and you're like, that's so unrealistic. They're trying to bring a more realistic vibe to the dribble and more fluidity to kind of give it that like finesse, because basketball is finesse, right? It's a lot of slam dunks in your face, but it's a lot of also finesse with the ball and being able to shoot. they're trying to give you that more realistic feel, and I'm super excited to see what they've done.
To expand on that even more, so one thing that they're kind of adding to that fluidity as well is what's called rhythm shooting. So stick rhythm shooting. So basically, it's how you control the ball that turns into a shot, like the fluid motion that you're dribbling, all of a sudden you're shooting, like the flow of that. I thought that was really cool. And then what I also thought was really cool, or what they're adding is so you can kind of get out of a shot animation to go into something else. So like, yes, you can pump fake, but like, so I don't know if you like see how like sometimes you pump fake and you just bring it down to a dribble. Like it's gonna have that feel to it too, where it's gonna feel more realistic in terms of I'm gonna make this shot, but oh, just kidding, I'm gonna dribble instead of just a generic pump fake. It's gonna feel like it would in real life, and I think it's really important to make it feel like you said more finesse, more fluid, and that's what they're doing with this new revamp of the dribble engine, which is called Pro Play.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, the shot canceling is really cool to me. And again, it's more realistic in the game, right? So if you think about it when you're playing, if you go for like a step back, right, and then you see your defender start to press you, right, you're not gonna still put up that shot. You know what I mean? You're gonna take the step back and maybe go, stutter step right behind the back, something like that. You're not gonna take that shot. But in 2K, you are always locked into that. If you were to take that step back shot, you are locked into it and you just get smashed on. Now you can cancel that. So again, more realistic. And again, I do love what you were talking about with the rhythmic shooting. This is optional, guys, so don't freak out here. You can turn this off and just keep this legit. But instead of just like hitting the square button, they're using the R stick where you're back and forth for the shooting. So like down on the R stick is pulled back, forward is going to be your perfect timing to put the shot up. If you're a fan of like the 2K golf games, you know this a lot. This is how you swing the club in 2K golf.
2K has had that in the past for a while, actually. That's how I always played the game. Is always the right stick for shooting. So
yeah, and I like the way that they do that. And then the signature shot that you were talking about, where you're able to hold the R stick up. Basically, what's going to happen is you hold the R stick up, and it goes into a signature move that like is it's not customizable. It's specific for each player. So each player has their own move. So like Tatum can have that sidestep, right? But you hold that stick up, it moves into the Tatum sidestep and then automatically goes into the shoot animation, which I think is really cool. I think it's going to give you a lot more ability to kind of play the game as the players themselves, and is going to allow you to be much more aggressive.
Really, and I think that's really cool. I just love 2K. If I love 2K, if we were to put, we have always said this, but 2K I think does things so well, and that's why I think they're a better game than Madden. And the things that they do, it's always trying to expand on their core, and they do it in a way that doesn't break the game every year. There has been a couple instances like where the shot meter was bad or things like that, but at its core, the game is always solid. And that's kind of a random note. But one more side note: we've talked a lot about an offense side of things. Defense, I've actually always wanted this. I don't know if it's been like this in recent games, but I always felt like the defense, if you're playing a player on defense, it's so like rigid and not very dynamic. Where with this new change to the defense is you'll get more dynamic change in like the direction of the defensive player with the right stick. Because I always thought like the right stick, I felt like that should be the way to like jump inside, jump in front of the player, and they're gonna have this, and they'll be able to cut off like people driving to the lane or and really be able to be more responsive laterally. And I think that's really cool and really important again because I always thought like it should have been like that from when again, it's been a while since I played 2K, but I always felt like the defense was like so slow in like the way they would shuffle. It wasn't really ever like a jump over. It was always like a shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And like this, I feel like it's going to feel so much more. Again, the word I'm using is authentic, but I think that's where this is going to feel with that new change to the right stick.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you. I think this was a needed addition to this game. There's nothing worse than playing defense and knowing exactly what your opponent is going to do and just not being able to stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're gonna do. You're gonna come up to the line. You're gonna fake drive. You're gonna fake drive, stutter step, and then back up and shoot the three with Steph. And there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing I can do about that. It's like it's infuriating that I don't know. It's infuriating to know what your opponent's going to do and have no answer for it. And I think this, abilities with the R stick, being more aggressive, playing defense, being able to move more fluid and stuff like that, it's going to take away some of that, like, I don't want to call it broken offense, but like, yeah, like
being more offensive focused. Like the game is so offensive focused where this is going to help it for the people that want to make sure to try on.
Yeah, I'll just level the playing field a little bit. I feel like, when you're playing these games, being aggressive, being offensively aggressive is way easier than being defensively aggressive. You know what I mean? And this is kind of leveling that playing field out.
Overall, they didn't show much on the franchise mode, but those things kind of expand. That's coming up, actually. I think in the next couple weeks, they're going to have trailers and stuff on that.
I'm sure we'll get more info there, yeah.
The AI gameplay has been improved, which that happens every year. They try to improve the AI, but they are making them more responsive, better spacing, better, like, just overall better is the whole concept with the AI. Other than that, I don't have much else to say on the game. Yeah, I think I hit everything that I want to talk about. So I'm excited for this one. Maybe this is a year I get back into sports games because I haven't been playing them, but I don't know. We'll see because this one does look really good to me, and we'll just kind of go from there.
I'm super excited for this one. I think these changes are going to be great. The one last thing I want to talk about, Adam touched on this a little bit with the pro play. The 9,000 new animations. This is going to be an incredible thing for the realistic feel of the game. Now, this isn't necessarily new to the 2K series. It's been introduced before. But last year they only did some players. You know what I mean? They only did kind of like big names to have these like authentic animations, a lot like we talked about with Madden, with Lamar coming up to the line, touching the towel and stuff like that. They've done this for every player now. So every player has these personalized animations that really make it feel like it is that player that you're playing with at the moment. And I think that's really important, just to the overall vibe. You know what I mean? Like LeBron's going to come in and be LeBron, but like, maybe you're a fan of, Anthony Davis, and like Anthony Davis didn't get the same treatment as LeBron, but this year he did. You know what I mean?
Or Lonzo Ball.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Lonzo.
I mean, this year he did, you know what I mean? So like all the players have these custom custom tailored animations to their game style, and I just think the game looks great. I'm super excited for it.
Me too. So let us know in the comments if you're super excited about this one. Let us know if we missed anything that's big that's changed on it, or if you're a true like fan, you're like, no, it's the same as Madden. It feels the same every year. They say this is all going to change and it all feels the same. Let us know if you have that kind of thought. But overall, we're excited for it. We'd like to hear your thoughts too.
Let us know down in the comments. Again, this game will be dropping September 6th. Be on the lookout for some more trailers because I'm sure we will get some more information about it before it drops. Yep. With that being said, Adam.
Another nervous time.
Are you a fan of the NBA?
A little bit.
A little bit, okay. All right.
Maybe.
All right. Adam's a little bit a fan of the NBA. So I thought it would be fun to see if Adam can name the last 10 NBA champions.
NBA champions.
I'll give you a little help if you get stuck.
Like MVPs?
Nope,
or like
just the teams.
Oh, just the teams?
Just the teams. The last 10 to win it.
Oh, okay. This year.
Keep in mind, there are no doubles on here. So if you say one, it's not like you have to go year by year. If you say one team, they're kind of out.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so let's start off right off the bat. Right now is the Celtics.
Boom.
We had the Lakers.
Lakers on the list.
We also had the Nuggets. That was last year.
Yeah, Nuggets on the list.
Was the Lakers the year before that?
No, actually, there's a little bit of a gap between the Lakers. Yep, yeah, there you go.
Then the Lakers. was
Yep.
2020. Was it the Warriors?
Warriors, got the Warriors. You're not going in order. What you got the last 5 in order. You kind of jumped around. It was Celtics,
okay.
Nuggets, Warriors, Bucks, Lakers.
Cavaliers.
LeBron, Cavs.
The Lakers. Did you already say that one?
I already said the Lakers.
Okay,
You got 4 left. Damn,
4
you're crushing it, dude.
4 left. Let's see. 4 left. The Heat? No, not the Heat. Is it the Heat? Oh, when was that?
We're talking old. So it's funny. There's been 10 champions.
Yeah.
But a lot of the teams have won it multiple times. So this is like when you get to number 10, you're literally going back to like 2006.
Okay, so the Heat is on there.
Heat is on there. Yep. You got 3 more.
The Bulls aren't on there, are there?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
I'll give you a hint. There's probably 2 on here that if you think like older kind of
Sixers?
superstars, no. And then there's
Older-
one team on here where you're probably like, oh my God, I forgot they won.
Forgot they won. Not the Suns.
No.
Oh, the Spurs?
Spurs. There you
Yep.
go. That's your old team. Think of Dirk.
I was gonna say the Mavericks.
Yeah.
I was gonna say them next, actually. Okay, how many do I have left?
You got 1 left. You're crushing this.
Not the Thunder.
It's one that you were probably like you'll be like, oh my God, I forgot they won it.
I forgot they won it. What year is it?
Oh God. I didn't write down the years.
Oh, that's okay.
Probably like 2016 maybe?
2016.
Yeah, 2016 maybe? Before the Lakers, after the Cavs.
Cavs. This is that weird year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you want a hint?
Yeah.
It's Drake's team.
Oh, the Raptors with the claw.
Yup.
Oh my gosh. And like I remember he was saying like in the wow, how did I forget that?
That's what I said. It's probably one of those teams you're like, oh my God, I forgot they won it.
Yeah, holy cow, because that's funny because I remember like he was saying that he was gonna stay in Toronto, or Kyle Lowry is like, he's gonna stay, and then he's like, nope, peace out.
Peace out.
The claw, Kawhi Leonard. Okay.
Dude, you crushed it.
Thank
Let's
you.
go. Last
Thank you.
10. Well done. Well
Thank
done,
you.
guys. Well done. Let us know in the comments how many you guys got.
Alrighty, moving on to our last topic of the night, Hellboy the Crooked Man, coming out November 14th, 2024, directed by Brian Taylor. I'm going to be honest. I was not expecting to turn this trailer on and be like, whoa, this is scary.
I'm not going to lie. I'm super excited for this. And this is the one comic book movie that I'm looking at this trailer going, like, is this a horror movie? Is this more horror movie than comic movie? Because that's what it feels like.
That's exactly what Mike Magnolia wanted you to think when you watch this trailer. It's like Hellboy it's got like a serious tone to it, like the dark tones, but it always had that goofy element, that supernatural, like I'm a superhero, I'm cool, I'm like goofy. Where this one, he wanted it to feel that like psychological horror, like scariness to it. And as I was watching this trailer, I was like, I don't think my wife's gonna go see this one with me because it looks this scary. But I'm excited for this one.
You know how much I love scary movies. So
Yeah.
like, when I was watching this, I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe they went in this direction. And I'm so excited that they did.
Yeah.
Guys, it literally, if you guys are just listening, I implore you, jump on YouTube, take a look at the trailer. It legitimately, if you replaced Hellboy with just a normal looking dude, this legitimately looks like a horror movie and like one of the scariest horror movies ever.
Yeah, it definitely has those elements to it. But the cool thing is it feels like this story of Hellboy. Like the tones, if you're just watching, like the tones of the trailer are very like true to what this story feels like, what it looks like. And overall, it's just creepy. Like the snakes, like ripping this person to shreds, and oh my gosh, it feels like a horror movie as it should, and I don't know, it feels like a good Hellboy story.
I mean, they absolutely nailed the look. And if you guys, again, if you guys are just listening, this is obviously called Hellboy and the Crooked Man, and we're looking at the Crooked Man right now. You do get a little bit of a glimpse of him in the trailer. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah,
Absolutely
and
terrifying. And the way that he snaps his neck like that reminds me of like the neck snap in like The Conjuring or The Ring.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like you get goosebumps when you see that.
Right, and I honestly, all the characters like from this trailer that I've watched, I feel like they are played very well, and like I would see them as the characters in reading the comic. And to be honest, I think this one is going to it's staying true to the story, and kind of an interview that I watched, they had said that there's tons of different routes they could take with Hellboy, but with this specific story of Hellboy, it's short enough to fit in one movie, and to also but enough detail to really fill out a whole movie in a good way. And I think that's really cool that they're not making an adaptation of the movie like we talked about with Watchmen. Like they're staying true to the story, and that's really neat. And I think it looks cool. I'm not a huge horror fan in general, but the way this one is portrayed, and after reading the Hellboy, the Crooked Man, I'm like, I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to see it come out and be able to experience it in the theaters.
And you actually read the story, right?
I did.
Yeah. Do you have a little insight on who the Crooked Man actually is?
Without giving out too much detail, we don't want to spoil anything. Essentially, so the Crooked Man is actually a man named Jeremiah Whitkins. He was a man that lived in the Appalachia, which is like Virginia nowadays. This story takes place in the 1950s. But Jeremiah Whitkins is way back when, and he's been turned into kind of like a soul collector for the devil. But essentially, Jeremiah Whitkins was a man that stirred up the conflict between the natives and the colonizers. Is that what they are?
Colonists, yeah.
Yeah, colonists. When they came over to America, he stirred up the trouble to cause that feud to cause that feud. He also sold to both sides for the American Revolution and the Civil War, and he was hung for his crimes because of all that. And that's when the devil like, hey, I want you to go collect souls. And that's kind of what happened. Is so the Crooked Man is Jeremiah Whitaker as a demon soul collector for the devil. And really, to go into the story a little bit, I'm just going to read the story plot off of IMDb. I don't want to ruin the story or spoil anything if you want to read the comic or see the movie. But the story plot is a parapsychologist Bobby Joe Song is tasked with delivering a spider to the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense, and Hellboy seeks Hellboy for help and travels to the Appalachia to take on the Crooked Man. Where this is a little not true to the story, Bobby Joe Song is not in the story. So she's an added character for this story. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because everything else seems very true to the story. Like there's instances in the trailer, I'm like, oh, that's from the comics. Like I specifically remember that from the comic book, reading it. And I think that's pretty cool. I don't know why she's in it, probably just to help bring another character into the mix, but I don't know.
That was actually the one question I had, was I wasn't sure where that character came in from.
I think it's just to add another character, another element to the story. I don't know what the significance is having her. I think she might be kind of, I don't want to say pointless, but I don't think she's important enough to say, oh, this isn't like the comics anymore. I think it's just another character to add depth to it, or to change it enough where it's not carbon copy.
My one thought was just like, maybe because they're going in this direction of like a scary movie, like do they actually just need like a human protagonist for us to relate to? Because like you see like an actual human being in this situation and it makes you feel much more scary. But if you just see like Hellboy as like the only protagonist in the story, you're like not as scared because he's entrenched in that world anyway. So that stuff isn't really
Right.
scary to him.
That would
Yeah.
make sense. Yeah, I would
That's
say that
kind of
would
what I
probably
was thinking.
right, especially because the other like characters. Never mind. That's gonna spoil little things about the story. But again, I think this is really well done. I think it's staying true to what the comic is, and it's nice to see that like Mike is actually like co-writing it. So like they're using him and his like writing style in the script and in the writing of the movie in general. So I think that's like a great sign in terms of like the direction of this movie to capture the tone of Hellboy the crooked man, and it just matches the comics in my opinion.
I think it matches the comics amazing. I think it's a great vibe. Like I said, it's probably closer to a horror movie than it is to a comic book movie, which I absolutely love. The reason I wanted you to explain a little bit about the Crooked Man is, yeah, so he did get hung, and if you look in the trailer, that's why he does that quintessential like neck crack like that, because that's literally that's how he died, was he got hung and his neck snapped. Um, there is just one little bugaboo I have here, and I don't know how to say this in a kind way. But so Hellboy is being played by Jack Casey. Cassie?
I'd say Kessie.
Cassie? Jack Cassie?
Yeah.
Do you like the way that he looks?
I thought he looked pretty similar to how he does in the comics, to be honest.
I think he I don't know. I don't have a nice way to say this. I don't think he has a big enough forehead for this look. Okay, so like you look at like David Harbour and Ron Perlman, right?
Yeah.
Big forehead dudes. They have big foreheads. So like the horns kind of fit.
Yeah.
For him, I feel like they're kind of cramped, and his head is very like circular compared to like the traditional Hellboy. Do
You're
you see
probably I guess.
it? Do you see it?
Yeah. But it's funny, that might be a little bit nitpicky though.
It's clearly a 100% nitpicky.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? It's like the
Right.
horns don't fit. He doesn't have a big enough forehead for the horns to fit, right?
Right. That's funny.
Like Ron Perlman and David Harbour are
They have big foreheads.
fantastic actors, but big foreheads. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they got some room for
they
those
got
to work.
they got a 5 head.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
So I mean, I guess it's a good thing for him because like he doesn't get called 5 head all the time, but it's not good for the movie in Dave's opinion. I didn't
That's-
really have that nitpicky thing, but that is funny.
I'm so petty. I'm
but-
so petty. I'm sorry, guys.
Other than the forehead issue for Dave, I think it looks really cool. The whole source material, I didn't really go into this a little bit. The source material, the source material is a mini series, so it's 3 issues. So if you do want to read it, it's a very quick read. I read it in probably 30 minutes, if that, and it was cool. It was a really good, well done like rendition of Hellboy. It was written for July to September of 2008. And like I said, it takes place in 1950s of the Appalachia in Virginia.
I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. If you guys are kind of casual comic book fans, just, proceed with caution here, because like we said, I do think this is going to be more horror movie than comic movie. So just proceed with caution who you take to this movie, or who you go see this movie with, or if you even want to see this movie, just be ready. If you're not really huge fans of horror movies, this one may not be for you, but excitement for me is at an all-time high. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too. And honestly, when I first looked at it, I was like, this is gonna be like a low budget. And then I don't think it's a high budget film, to be honest. I don't think it has to be with the way this like it's captured. I thought it was captured so well that it didn't need all the crazy CGI. It doesn't need the big production behind it. And the fact that it's horror, I think that's what they're latching onto, and it does it really well for me anyways.
I think with the advancements in technology that we're seeing, like low budget CGI is miles away from where it was. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it is going to be a low budget movie, but I don't think it matters. And I think they invested the money from what we've seen in the trailer, I mean, you've seen the CGI on the snake, and we've seen the CGI with the or the raccoon crawling in her mouth and stuff like that. Like that looks fine. And again, the beauty of a horror movie is that you can make it kind of low budget because it's really about building suspense and like jump scares and shock value and stuff like that. That stuff typically does not take a lot of money. So yeah, I'm super excited for it. I think it's gonna be a fantastic movie.
Yeah. Hellboy fans, let us know. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Just hopefully, old Jackie boy, maybe
shaves his head a little bit to have bigger forehead.
Just shave his head, a little bigger forehead or something.
I don't think it's gonna happen at this point, but let us know in the comments, all you Hellboy fans. Is this one that you're excited about? Is it? Yeah. Just let us know what your thoughts are.
Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if I'm being petty about this forehead situation.
The 5 head. But with that said, Dave, it is time to play Guess the Franchise. 8 words or less. No, that'd be crazy. Guess the Franchise. 20 words or less. I have 8 here for you. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Your first word I'm going to give you is... I almost messed it up right there. The first word I'm giving you is shark.
Shark. Jaws.
Yeah. Bang! Look at you.
Did you make them super easy because I'm stupid?
That one I knew was gonna be easy, but I wanted to start it off. Build your confidence as we do this.
I appreciate you so much right now.
The next one is cannibalism.
The Forest.
No. Shoot. I thought you were gonna nail it after that one. Horror. Dang, that didn't probably help too much.
Night of the Living Dead.
No. There's one word I would just give it to you.
Silence of the Lambs.
Boom! There we go.
Okay.
So you got it in 3 words there.
Hello, Clarice.
That's where I was gonna go Clarice next. So I'm glad I didn't. Okay. Next here is. Trying to think. I could do it in 2 words. I think we can afford 2 words here. Battle Royale.
Fortnite.
Oh, geez, that was too easy. 5. We're at 5 words total here. Okay, next is automotive.
Cars.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, guys, 100%. I picked that because I know how much Adam loves cars.
I do love cars.
Yeah, he does love cars.
Yeah,
his face gave it away.
Shoot. I think automotive is just the same exact word as cars, just different. Okay. Next is skating.
Tony Hawk.
Nope. Futuristic.
Futuristic skating. Oh no, I'm not gonna be able to.
Oh no,
I'm not
you're
gonna
not
be able to say it. Jet Set Radio.
Boom!
Let's go.
Nice. Okay. So you're at 8 words here. Next word is yellow.
Curious George.
Nope. Next
banana.
word. No. Sorry.
Okay.
Banana hat, or the man in the yellow suit or whatever.
Yeah.
Yellow hat. Nope.
Yeah.
Next word is ghosts.
Yellow ghosts. Oh no.
That's 10 words, by the way.
Yellow ghosts. Yellow ghosts. Space Ghost.
No. What is Space Ghost? Is that a thing?
Space Ghost Coast to Coast?
I don't think I've ever seen that.
He had a yellow cape.
No.
No? Okay.
Next
All right.
word is retro.
I should know this, huh?
You should.
Yellow ghosts.
Retro.
Retro yellow ghosts. What?
Need another word?
Yeah.
Maze.
Retro yellow ghost maze.
Yeah.
Retro yellow ghost maze.
You're going to be like, oh, are you kidding me? I didn't get this.
Retro yellow ghost maze. Yellow ghost maze. What is a yellow ghost maze?
Need another word?
Yeah, give me another word.
Fruit.
Oh my God, Pac-Man.
Yep.
I'm so dumb.
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah,
I'm
I
so
could have.
dumb.
Yeah, that's okay, Dave. You're
Where are
at
we at?
13 words with two left. I think you got it.
All right, we can do this. We can do
You
this.
can do this. All right, next hint here, or next word is animal. Z, plural, animals.
Jungle Book.
Nope. Build.
Build animals. Animal Crossing?
No. Theme park. Oh, that's 2 words. Dang it. 16, 17 now.
Oh, no.
Crap.
We're
Sorry.
at 17 words.
That's my bad.
Theme park. Build animals theme park. Build animal theme park.
Come on. Oh, theme park probably wasn't the best words, actually.
I have no idea. Is this a movie or a game?
Okay, I'm not. This doesn't count. It's a game.
It's a game
Yeah, it's a game.
where you build animals.
Maybe not animals themselves.
Build Hogwarts?
No. Ah, shoot. Okay. I want to save 2 words for the next one, so I know you can get it. Ah, shoot.
This one needs to be a banger. This needs to be a banger word.
Habitat. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. 18.
Habitat. Minecraft?
No. Oh, Dave. I don't know what other words to give you. Simulator.
What am I missing? What am I missing here?
I don't know. I think I screwed this one bad. This is all my fault this time.
Should I know this game?
I don't know. I think it might be kind of minuscule, but
Oh, a build? Because obviously a building's like I get what type of game it is. It's weird it's not Animal Crossing though. Empire of Ants.
no.
Shoot.
Ah, crap, Dave.
We're screwed.
We are at 20 words here. Okay,
wait. I
didn't say it.
pass. I pass. But let's pass on this one. Give me the one word for the next word and see if I get it. Then we can come back to this, but you can't give me any more hints.
Okay.
Okay.
Crap, dang it. Now I had 2 words set. Dope.
Oh, Simpsons.
That might be cheating. So that's 20 words, Dave. Can you get the number 7 word?
What am I building? It's a building game. It's a crafting building game with animals, and it's not Animal Crossing.
It's a sim.
It's a simulator, but it's not. Hobbit Life.
No. Oh, you said I can't give you more words?
Yeah, no more words.
We're stuck at 20.
Fail. We failed this one.
Zoo Tycoon.
Zoo Tycoon.
You ever play that?
I never played Zoo Tycoon.
What?
That is an obscure game, my friend.
Oh,
That is
sorry.
obscure game.
My bad. I thought it would have been a game you would have played or heard of. That's stupid of me. I guess I'm the simulator guy that likes to play simulators, so that was a poor choice and my bad. So Dave lost because of me.
Roller Coaster Tycoon, is this part of the same series?
Yeah, it's part of the same like brand or like franchise. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they had a zoo one.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
dumb.
this episode is 2 hours and 20 minutes. We gotta go. Great episode, Dave. This is probably our longest episode that we've ever had. This is
Longest
crazy.
episode ever. Thank you guys so much for everything. Short and sweet today. We love you guys very, very much. Just hit 2,300. We cannot say thank you enough. So thank you for that. Love you guys very, very much. Adam, what you got for him?
Follow us on all social media. Let's Talk Nerdy Podcast. Join the Discord. Take these conversations offline. And yeah, that's all I got.
Love you guys. Sorry, this one was crazy long, and we will see y'all on the next one.
Peace out, nerds.